Welcome back to the Character Corners. Chris and D-Palm here, and we got a really good show going on today. It's gonna be late. Strap in, put a pot of coffee on. We're gonna be burning the midnight oil here.
I'll be burning the midnight vodka. I'm not sure of this coffee talk.
Valid. We are doing the first part of our Rogue Wars Character Corner, where we're gonna do Batman, Spider-Man, and Flash villains, and today is going to be Batman. So we get into that. Before we get into that, D-Palm, I know you have a new review to read for us.
I do. Maroni, age 44, always an amazing listen. Chris and D-Palm are the Batman and Superman of the comic book world, meeting out justice and hope for characters that deserve the spotlight and giving a richer appreciation for the craft. Yeah, I'm stealing that. Like, you send this, we can steal your words. That's all I'm saying. That's a good tagline. We sell that. Or maybe better said, Captain Marvel and Black Adam, because villains get there to do just as well as heroes.
I just want you guys to know that I tricked D-Palm into having three after telling us we know we can't do villains anymore. I tricked him into having three back to three.
The trick was, this was my idea like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then as I started reading, I was like, I'm an idiot. Whose idea was this?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Okay, it doesn't matter if you've never picked up a comic or a lifelong reader. You'll instantly be drawn to the energy and insight these two bring. I can vouch for energy, at least. They even go out of their way to keep you up to date on relevant characters, so you're not lost when the newest movie or TV show starts up. This is the perfect podcast to listen to for all occasions, especially if you're a fan of Greg Land's art. Bravo, gentlemen. It'll have it on lock.
Good job. I like how you put that troll in there at the end.
See, I don't need y'all taking advantage of the fact that you know I'm gonna be on reading this stuff. Like that was uncalled for.
Oh man, that's great. That's
some good trolling.
That's some good trolling. All right. So like I said, before we get into like digging into these Batman villains, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about just rogues and why we picked Batman, Spider-Man, and the Flash a little bit, so we don't have to do this every time we do the next two. But to me, what separates those three sets of villains is just that, and you'll see it when we start talking about some of these runs. There's another one of these character corners where D-Palm and I literally did not talk about what runs we were going to cover until maybe like 5 minutes before I hit record, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I read that, and I read that too." And the reason for that is with these rogues, just using Batman as an example because we're going to be talking about him. You can read one run and you'll literally get like the core group of his rogue gallery, because they're constantly working together. They're constantly being used by each other to take down Batman, and there's just this way of it's different from when you read other villains, where it's usually Batman versus let's say the X-Men versus this character. It's usually it's a small group. They're not really all working together. When you get Batman, Spider-Man, and the Flash, you're gonna, if you read a run, you're going to get at least 5 to 6 villains working together at some point.
And that's one of the biggest evidences as to why we did this with these three characters. A hero is only as good as his villains. That makes these three the most powerful villains, or powerful heroes, in any universe.
Right.
And you can tell just how excited writers are when they get the books, because they're like, okay, how fast can I use all the characters?
Right.
That's why you see the players, the characters getting used so well and so varied and so often over these runs, is because it's fun to write the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to write Captain Cold.
Yeah. And not only that, it's just there's so much you can do with them, because you can make them villains. You'll see you can make them heroes for a little bit, or make them think they're heroes and then bring them back down. There's just so many different things you can do, and there's different ways of having them attack your hero. It makes everything better. It's one of the reasons why I think that when the New 52 happened, obviously Scott Snyder and his writing is just amazing. But when you had Batman, what made those runs so good is all those characters. Like when you open up Scott Snyder's Batman run in New 52, it's that thing where Batman's literally taking on his rogue gallery. There's that scene where
he takes down the entire rogues gallery in the span of 3 pages.
Right. And it's just that feeling you get when you see that. And it's also one of those things that I think that is a next evolution for even the comic book movies. Like I remember when they announced that Ben Affleck would be directing the Batman movie, and he talked about how you're going to get a lot of Batman villains and you're going to get them all in there. People kind of groaned because there's this idea that these movies have too many villains. I've heard the same thing with the Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh, they got 3 villains and there's too many. to be perfectly honest with you guys, I think that if you're gonna do, Batman, Spider-Man, or the Flash, you better have a shit ton of villains in the movie and figure out a way to work it, because that's just the character. And even when you look at, we're going to talk a little bit later, because I now have an even better appreciation for what Christopher Nolan did after reading some of the stuff I read. Even if you look at what Christopher Nolan did, he did a really good job. Like, take The Dark Knight. There's technically 3 types of villains and 3 villains, Batman villains, in that movie. Yeah. And it works out really well, and it's done so well. And I think that's the other thing too about the Rogue Gallery is you use the Rogue so well, you don't even know that you had like 7 villains in a movie or 7 villains in a storyline.
Right.
Like we're gonna talk about Hush and the Hush storyline, and then the Long Halloween. Like, I'm reading, I'm like, wait, there's like 7 villains in this fucking, like, there's so, they keep bringing new villains in, but it never feels crowded. It never, like, they come in, they do their thing, they're used for a certain plot point, then they're gone, and you don't feel like it was crammed in there. And it's because that's just how that's the synergy they have with these characters. And I think that's what separates these 3 and their Rogue Galleries from other, like, let's say the X-Men or any other character and their villains. It's just a different feeling. It's like a different elevation, and I think that's what makes them so interesting to me. So, all right, so we quickly decided to kind of normally we do these off the cuff and stuff like that, but we did decide to put some order in this to keep us from going way off rails here. So we kind of broke them up into kind of categories here, and we'll kind of spin off and talk a little bit more about them. But I guess when you're talking about Batman and you want to start with the villains, I guess the first thing you start with, and talking to Deepam about this, and I originally had an order, and he was like, oh, well, we start with this, and I'm like, no, that actually makes sense. The first type of Batman villain is basically the mobsters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you start. I mean, that is... There's different types of mobsters in there, and they kind of escalate in there. But usually, when you start off and you're finding how Batman started, it's to clean up crime in Gotham City, and it starts with the mobsters. Start with Carmine.
So,
go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say. So, the first thing you and I talked about, just kind of catching up on what you said, was Long Halloween. And before we get to that, I want to talk about year 1. Mm-hmm. It was really good. I liked year 1. I like how he starts off as an enemy of kind of like you said, the mob. But Long Halloween, I keep mixing up the 2.
Yeah.
Was, if you've never read it, I just go out and read it. Like, if you want to get a good feeling on what's kind of the accepted canonized version of Batman's first few years under the cowl, this is it. Mm-hmm. You see his first meeting with literally everyone you see. So it doesn't become Harvey Dent as part of the backstory. You see Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
You get to know Harvey Dent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You genuinely like Harvey Dent.
The interesting thing about the Long Halloween is it really kind of is the Harvey Dent origin story. It is
exactly what it is.
It is the Harvey Dent origin story. And after rereading this for this character corner, this is what I meant when I said it gave me a new appreciation for Christopher Nolan's Batman. I mean, some people go, well, it wasn't really comic booky. After reading The Long Halloween, I'm like, you know what? Maybe he didn't have the visual elements of the comic booky stuff, but when it comes down to nailing the character and nailing what some of the stuff is, you find a lot of some of the dialogue that he pulls in that movie pulled straight from The Long Halloween. Like
Long Halloween and a lot of year 1 in there too.
Yeah.
And I think, because that's been one of my criticisms of that series, is having watched it over the years. It felt more like a rogue cop in a bat suit than a Batman.
Right.
I've never really done a whole lot of research on the background of those movies, and that's, I think, laziness on my part. But I would like to hear his relationship with these low-posted, works, because for everything about how I feel about that trilogy, he really captured the film noir kind of the Long Halloween.
Right. It definitely does.
It feels pulpy. It feels grounded. Like there's in the things that in my head define Batman, he went almost to like a very much, and you feel it more in Begins and even Dark Knight, but very much like a super grounded Batman.
Yeah. And there are certain parts in there, like you said, we talk. You get Carmine, you get Maroni, you get. Well, actually, do we get Maroni in? I can't remember if we got Maroni in the Dark Knight, but we definitely get Falcone and.
Yeah, this is the crime war between the two of them.
Right, and you get Harvey Dent, and you get this young DA who is pushing the envelope, and you literally watch as Harvey Dent descends into going too far.
Right.
But the twist...
It starts out being the three of them on that rooftop.
Right. Mm-hmm. He's like, Gordon, I know you have a way to contact him. I know you can do this. And you see Harvey continually pushing that edge. And there's also another part that really stuck out to me, and it reminded me of The Dark Knight Rises. It was this whole thing. There's a bunch of I believe in Harvey Dent, and you see this, and the storyline of The Long Halloween is somebody is killing these mobsters. Falcone once a month on a holiday, and you also get thrown in there the Calendar Man, because obviously that's his MO of killing people on holidays. So you always have Batman going to the Calendar Man trying to ask him, and he always gives a little hint. It's like he changes pronouns between he and she.
Yeah.
And by the time you end The Long Halloween, the reveal is you're like, oh, son of a bitch. So it was a really good. You get the origin story of Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face, but then you also get this other extra element of the mobsters and why Harvey's gone this far, and just how bad crime is, and you get the escalation,
right?
And I love that one scene where after Maroni basically creates Two-Face by throwing the acid on Harvey Dent in the courtroom. Later on, you have Two-Face now trying to get exact revenge on Carmine because he knows he's the one that made this happen. And you have that scene of basically Two-Face bringing all the other rogues together.
Right. And behind all this growing insanity with the rogues is at its heart a murder mystery and a gangster drama.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that as the story gets told, as we've all heard it before, the back end is twisting it so much. And it's said that Batman's villains particularly reflect a specific aspect of him. And for me, this part of his story, these characters, these players, even so far as the Penguin, this is the escalation.
Right.
This is I hope no other kid suffers what I suffered to, no other child will suffer what I suffered.
Right. So, like I said, we mentioned, obviously, The Long Halloween and Two-Face. So, again, Two-Face's first appearance is Detective Comics 66. Didn't read it, but I'm going to give you guys the first appearance of all these characters anyway. But, like I said, to me, if you really want to narrow down and really get a good storyline and a good origin story for Two-Face, it's The Long Halloween.
And then go read Dark Victory, because I really like Dark Victory.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really like Dark Victory. Mm-hmm. And the fact, I'm not going to spoil who the killer is or are in Long Halloween, but for you, are there 3 or 2 killers? Just out of curiosity.
You say what now?
Are there 3 or 2?
I kind of want to say there were only 2.
I think there were 2 as well. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the one that confesses. I don't think it's one.
Oh, really?
The first one.
Because I was just saying him and her.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't believe the first one that confessed.
Wait, who?
Falcone's Alberta was that?
Oh, that's the one I believe.
Oh, I don't believe him.
I don't believe Dent. I believe Dent was covering for her.
Ah, okay. Maybe. Like It's a really good one. You also get Catwoman in there. You get, again, this is the thing about all these stories. So you get Joker, you get Catwoman, you get Mad Hatter, and you get a really funny funny interaction between Mad Hatter and Scarecrow with them yelling over pie and tea or something like that. It's just fucking crazy. A Calendar Man. You get Solomon Grundy in there, which is I like bringing this up just because he looks at such a tragic character of how Solomon Grundy becomes, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But at one point during Thanksgiving, Batman leaves like a Thanksgiving dinner for him, you know, and it shows you that they're still as cold as Batman seems. There's still something there.
Well, he also reminds you that, and it's something that they did a really good job of in books that we're not going to talk about today, but I think it was Gotham or Arkham Manor. It reminds you that Arkham's a hospital.
Yeah.
Like, these people are supposed to not just be being incarcerated, but they're supposed to be getting better.
Yeah, when he comes across Solomon Grundy in The Long Halloween, he basically says, like, there are just people who are forgotten, and that Solomon Grundy is, you know, Cyrus Gold, he was a victim of he was a victim of mobsters and becomes this. So it's like he kind of feels, you know, to him, Grundy is just another example of another victim of the crime in Gotham. You know, that becomes a villain, yeah, but it's not his fault. It's kind of been forgotten. He even says that a lot, that he's forgotten. So again, you have the mobsters.
Right.
There. Another mobster that kind of falls in here, and he's one of the ones that stands out to me as a villain of Batman. And when you think of Batman villains, you think of Arkham Asylum. You think, again, like you said, a hospital. They need help. There's one character that I've never really considered to fall into that category, and it's Cobblepot. It's Penguin.
Right.
I've never considered him actual crazy.
No. He's not crazy. Right. He's a very, very, very. He's that line between the quote unquote freaks, as they're called in Long Halloween,
right,
and the mobsters.
Yeah.
He sees the freaks in himself as one, but as a business opportunity.
Right. So, like I said, Cobblepot is always an interesting character to me because it's like you said. There are times when he's an informant. There's times when he's, you know, fucking things up himself. Remember, there you see him in the Suicide Squad books where, you know, Waller and the Suicide Squad use him as their strategists for getting into.
Well, hell, even remember the Secret Six run we just finished up. He's the one who tips the heroes.
Yeah,
he's like, you idiots! I have contacts everywhere.
Yeah, The interesting thing about Cobblepot is he really is the snitch. Out of this group, he is the snitch, and he kind of is the most normal out of everybody.
Physical deformities be damned.
Yeah, physical deformities.
The other thing is that if, depending on the backing of the hero of the story you're reading, his family has beef with the Waynes.
Yes.
And I think he's a really good example of almost Bruce without scruples.
That's a good point.
Like, this is the rich, entitled kid from the rich, entitled family who, now his family didn't go wrong. He went wrong. He was deformed, and this is how he reacted to it. Mm-hmm. Bruce lost his parents and became a crazy person in a bat suit.
Right. True. Yeah. So I think we said first appearance, Detective Comics 58. And like I said, Ping was an interesting one to me because he's like you said, he's that line. I remember, let me see if I have it, because we read this when we were doing the Snyder. I think this was Death in the Family, and I had some screenshots of it. I don't know if I put it there, but there's that. We'll talk about it. I got to read it for the Two-Face thing. So there's the little conversation between Two-Face and Joker. But after that's handled, you have Penguin going, all right, Joker, let's just play it straight. Let's have a conversation like normal people, even though, dude, you realize Joker's not normal.
Right.
You can't have this conversation with a rational person. But that's the thing. Like you said, it's Cobblepot's always in the middle. He plays both sides. You can never know. Like at one point, he becomes an informant for Batman, and the Batman knows still can't trust him. It's just it's you don't know where you stand with him, and but he's always there. And but here's one thing that I really enjoyed with Death in the Family, and it was when we had Joker and Two-Face. And it goes, there's Two-Face. He's like, I'm sick of your act clown. You don't have any special claim to him. Talking about Batman. We've all been at this for years. Open these damn bars, and we'll follow as long as the bat dies. We'll do anything. We'll do anything you want. We have the right to see this through. The right? Oh, that's real. That's rich, Harvey. That really is. I'm cracking up all over. Do you realize how pathetic you sound? Oh, please, Mr. Joker, please let me help. Please let me help kill the Batman, Mr. Joker. It's my right. You want to know why I chose you to play the judge in my little tableau? It's because you're nothing, Harvey. My name is Two-Face. Hush now, Harvey. You know it's true. All it took was a little acid to the face, and everything you stood for got thrown out the window. And it turns out you were just waiting for the chance to pretend to be one of the gangsters you used to lock away. Shut up, Joker. And heck, in this city, that brand of justice is perfect. That kind of justice that's meaningless. Where one side of the coin is just as good as the other, where there's no difference between right and wrong. Shut the hell up. But don't get me wrong, Harvey. None of us respect you. We just tolerate you. So you want to pull that trigger, go on, I dare you. Just one little thing to keep in mind. I gave you that suit. I gave you that gun. You already know I booby-trapped the poor old Eddie. I booby-trapped poor old Eddie. Can you really be sure I didn't see this coming too? Maybe I swapped it with a gun that shoots backwards. Maybe it'll just give you a big heart-stopping shock. Or maybe, just maybe, it'll shoot a bullet straight through my head. You can shoot them all too. Pretend you've had a change of heart. Be one of the good guys again. What do you think? A lot of options there. Hope your little coin has enough sides. and Harvey doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he freezes. So that's the other thing you learn about in Long Halloween. Joker doesn't fuck with Harvey.
No.
Like, at all.
At all. Nothing. Because
like,
it kind of...
There's no, like, this... If Joker and Harvey are interacting, Joker's using Harvey.
Yeah. And
that's it.
And it's because, and again, obviously we're saving Joker for last in this little rogue because we have to. But it's because Joker's the one that sees through Harvey, you know? Batman in a way sees Harvey as...
his fallen friend, his failed, the friend he failed.
The friend he failed, and what was it? Is it, which one is it where, is it the Dark Hall, is it, no, is Dark Knight Rises where Dark Knight Returns, is that the one where Harvey has his face, they think Harvey fixed his face?
Right.
Yeah, and it's just, and Harvey's face is fixed and everything, but he's still
and they're saying that it fixed his brain too, and
right.
Everyone's so excited, and it doesn't go that well.
It doesn't go that well, and it's just another reminder to Batman how much he's failed Harvey. So you got to remember that, like, that's the relationship between Batman and Harvey Dent. They were friends. Like, Batman saw him as an ally, and then he watched him go too far. Like, in the Long Halloween, you even see at one point, Batman starts suspecting maybe the holiday killer is Harvey Dent. He begins to suspect him. He's like, no, it can't be. And even Gordon's like, no, you can't. It can't be him. He's one of the good guys. He's one of us. He's one of us.
Because if Harvey falls,
we all fall.
Any of us could, and that's unacceptable.
Right. And so Joker sees through this. So Joker doesn't see Harvey as, as everybody else failing Harvey. Joker just sees Harvey as, a good guy who wants to pretend like he's bad.
You're a failure, Harvey. Right. You failed.
You got a little acid on your face, and that's all.
And now you want to play dress up,
right? And when we go through some of these other villains and their backgrounds and how they became villains, you're like, oh no, you like when we get to Bane, oh no, you had to become a villain.
The man had no choice.
Yeah, the man had no choice.
Life forced his hand.
Right. Harvey, though, you're like, dude, you had it all. You had a wife. You. It
even ties back into every character is. I'm not gonna do this too much. Sorry, guys. Every character's reflection of Batman. Literal duality.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Now to live two lives, you have to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh no, you're reading too much into it. They tell you Batman's crazy all the time.
All the time. Other characters tell you that he's crazy, you know? And so you have in a way, like, it's interesting always seeing the Penguin and Two-Face and the Cobblepot and Dent relationship there. Because I think Cobblepot kind of sees it too, but like you said, he always plays both sides.
Of course.
Penguin sees it.
Cobblepot sees it as leverage later.
Right. Joker doesn't go.
Joker's like, I'm going to break you now.
Yeah, I'm going to break you now and show you in front of everybody that you're nothing. And it's true. It's like just, Harvey, you had a little hardship that's nothing like anybody else, and you crumbled. That's all it took to send you over the edge. Look what everybody else did. Like, and again, remember, and this is Snyder's run with that is red. This is a Joker that literally had his face peeled off.
Yep. Held on with leather bands.
Right. His face is being held on with leather bands. It's rotting. It's got flies. And he's looking at Harvey like, I had my face cut off. You got a little acid and that's all it took for you to go bad? What the fuck's wrong with you? So those are mobsters. We got any other mobsters we can throw in this category?
That's really the big ones.
Yeah.
That's...
Like I said, you basically go, you have the Carmine, Falcone, and you have Sal Maroni, but then you start delving into a little bit more of you get the Harvey Dents, the Two Faces, you get the Penguin, who to me should be like Falcone and Maroni, Penguin, and then Two Face as you start slowly escalating.
The evolution, yeah.
It's the evolution and escalating in there. So the next category I have here is, and this is going to sound weird, like I didn't know what else to call them.
No, you're right. This is good.
The entire list kind of fits into this category, but I just call them your stone cold killers. And I guess the way you can kind of sum them up are, these are people that I don't really see them as ever having any kind of strategy other than I like to kill people.
Oh, well, hold on. See, now you can't put them both in this category. We'll talk about it. Let's go.
Let's go. So I got Victor Zsasz, I got Stone Cold Killers, got Victor Zsasz, and I got Deadshot.
Okay, so Zsasz is crazy. Like, I'm not gonna. For people who are wondering, I'm not about to defend Victor Zsasz. For those who don't know who Victor Zsasz is a murderer who kills you with knives and then puts a tally mark on his body because he's a crazy person.
Yes.
Like, I want to, like, honestly, people are like, oh, Zsasz, but there aren't great Zsasz stories because he's always crazy.
Yeah.
Generally naked, but always crazy.
Yeah, Zsasz just shows up and he just has knives and he's just there to kill people. Batman Shadow of the Bat #1 is his first appearance. Yeah. There aren't any, like you said, there aren't any Zsasz runs because he's just there. You need somebody carved up. Victor Zsasz.
Well, you look at the origin. He was very rich. His parents died when he was 25. He started gambling, lost all his money, lost all of it to the Penguin, and tried to kill himself at Jungle Bridge. Got stopped by a homeless man, and he started cutting people and himself.
Rational.
He calls his victims zombies because he's like, you have nothing to live for. You don't even know it.
Seems like a normal response.
With a tally mark all over his body for everyone that he's killed. Because why not?
Why not? Then you have Floyd Lawton.
Okay, Floyd ain't crazy, man.
Wait, dude. We just did the Secret
Floyd's
Six.
Crazy.
Do not do this.
Floyd's a different kind of crazy.
He's I think he actually might be a scarier kind of crazy.
Probably that, yes.
All right, listen. Read Secret Six. And I think it was the Secret Six issue.
I suggested that book. I love that book.
No, I'm telling everybody. I'm telling the listeners.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not you, listeners.
I keep forgetting this novel.
Secret Six. I know. Sometimes we just have these conversations. This is really just a conversation between me and you.
Really, that's all this is.
You guys are just listening in on us. Secret Six issue 15, the one the Deadshot one where he literally tells you that all he sees is dead people.
And not just dead people, people with holes in their heads, like they've been shot with a gun. Like,
right.
It's like, everyone's dead around me, and it's taking all my willpower not to shoot you right now.
Right. He goes to hell with the Secret Six. He's just like, I guess we're doing this now. Like,
he gets the offer to either go back to Earth, or to save his friends or stay in hell forever. And before the guy can finish the question, he shoots him in the face. Like, when I tell you Floyd Lawton gives zero fucks, that's true. But I also think that his crazy is tied to like as they explored in that very issue you talked about. Which if you want to read about Deadshot and like the character that we're talking about, why we think is interesting, Secret 615.
Yeah.
They really touch the whole gamut of his origin. You understand why the Batman villain became a villain at large, and you get why he's still scared of Batman. Why every time he shoots at Batman, what to say, he pulls his shots to the left?
Yep.
Because he don't want to actually shoot me. And Batman's like, well, fine, you're right.
So is this when he was talking to what was the name of the doctor? I can't remember who the doctor's name. The not the doctor, was like
The priest.
The priest. He goes, that's not good. Feeling a little suicidal, Floyd? Actually, no. Feeling homicidal, Padre. And at there's enough panel that shows him imagining shooting the Padre in the head. I get the desire.
It's the exact same panel as before, but it's tinted red. You just see him with a bullet hole in his head.
Right. I get the desire every now and then just to kill everything I see. In fact, if I had a gun right now, you'd be dead. Just so you know, Floyd, I've been a spiritual advisor to the Spectre. I don't scare easy. That right? Must have been interesting. I met the devil once. A devil anyway. Said his name was Neron. Asked him when he asked me what I wanted for my soul. You know what I told him, Padre? More bullets.
Because Deadshot's crazy.
Actually, I had my hands on a genuine get out of hell free card once. That's no big deal, Floyd. I had some in my wallet. There's a place online where you can get them. I'm talking the real thing from the same guy, Neron. Seemed like every villain in the hemisphere was after it as well. Didn't know you were told about your soul, Floyd. I'm not. Figured I'm damned one way or another. Only took it to keep some buddies from getting killed. A lot of folks were willing to kill for that car or die for it. Is that when these homicidal urges started? When you lost that card? Maybe. I don't know. Not sure when they started. Don't get me wrong, Padre. I don't mind killing people. I want it to be my choice, under my control. Going somewhere? Let's walk. That way, if I go nuts, you're the only one that dies. Like, this motherfucker is crazy.
But he knows he's crazy. How crazy is he really?
Right. So I mean, and that's what's so interesting about Deadshot in the Secret Six run, and I would even say the Suicide Squad run, because in Ostrander's Volume 1, you get the same thing. That's when you get the whole thing with him pulling his shots, of Batman calling him up for pulling his shot and stuff like that. He's both a scary and very intriguing and interesting character, because he still also he does good sometimes, but you don't understand why he does good.
But he does good, but he's got this really weird, twisted death wish.
Right. Like, he doesn't care if he dies. Like, I want to say at one point in the Suicide Squad, he's not outfitted with one of... Is he outfitted with one of the...
No, take it out.
Yeah, they don't have one in him at one point. Because this is like, he's there just because, why the fuck not? They allow him to kill people, so okay.
Yeah, basically.
So... and I think that's the reason why I kind of put him and Zsasz together. Like, they both, like, these other guys, they do enjoy killing, but there's usually some reason for it, right? Like, even with the Joker, it's a game to him. This is a game between him and Batman. Zsasz and Deadshot, it's just thing to do. Felt like killing some people today. You know? I have the desire to do it. There's no, and even when, again, Floyd is, sometimes hired as an assassin, it's a job, it's a mission. Somebody's supposed to have a bullet put in him. That's what I do. I don't miss. It's that simple. So I like I said, I always find, I think this, as crazy as it sounds, these might be the easier villains for Batman to take care of, because it's very simple, and then again with Deadshot, he pulls his shots around Batman, so.
Yeah, because he's scared.
Yeah. So.
Also, sorry, reversing from mirrors in your character. Literally, Deadshot is a rich guy who had an elaborate scheme to rob people and was inspired by Batman.
Yeah.
This is literally like, it was a costume party. Mm-hmm. It's the whole 9 yards. So, he's almost like Batman with a bunch of guns.
One interesting thing that also links all these villains and Batman together is almost every single one of them have mommy and daddy issues.
Well, yeah.
Like, a good majority of them have mommy and daddy issues. And, yeah. So, just keep that in mind. And Deadshot definitely had mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah.
Had a lot of mommy. All right, so moving in, we have the monster/mutants that Batman comes across. And I have in this category, I have Killer Croc. We talked to Solomon Grundy a little bit. Clayface and Mr. Freeze. And we'll get into those all
The Freeze one's hard to classify.
Yeah, it's like I put him in there, but I kind of put him. He's another one that's kind of, you know what, with Freeze, and we'll get into him a little bit later. We'll finish doing him last, but kind of reminds me of Two-Face a little bit in that he can be a tragic character until they did that Batman #1 annual when you realize that.
Oh, in New 52?
And I was like, okay.
Wait, hold on. We'll get to that. Yeah, let's start off with Killer Croc.
Let's all
because I have less to say about Killer Croc.
Yeah. Waylon Jones. And again, use kind of like Victor's ass a lot. Never any grand schemes.
It's a blunt force weapon.
Right. And I think that was the interesting thing in, again, how they use these villains and the rogues and some of the other storylines that they're not the part of can help flesh out the rest of the rogue gallery. So in the Hush storyline, he's been given something to mutate him even further and make him kind of more dangerous. But he's also trying to hold a kid for ransom. And it's like, Batman's like, wait a minute. Like, Killer Croc doesn't do this. That's not his MO. What's going on? So by changing the dynamic and changing his MO, you add this other element, and you find out later on that he's being used and being directed to do these things by another force. And that's another thing with these rogue galleries. You get them using other rogues to do their dirty work for them, and it changes things up a little bit. So, again, the fun thing for Killer Croc for me, which is fighting him in the Arkham games.
Right?
Because it's just creepy as shit. I remember the first time you see him, I think it's in Arkham Asylum, and you're like, wait, am I ever going to have to fight that? Like,
right. You see him walking and then taking the Joker to confinement.
Yeah.
Because I got your scent, Batman. Like, that's scary.
Right. And you don't really deal with him in that game a little bit. Then I think the next game you do, you're like, yeah, fuck this.
Right. Very much.
I don't want to deal with Killer Croc. Like, no, I didn't sign up for this. So
yeah, his first appearance was in 1983, Batman 357. My single favorite, because I tried to do some of them, find my favorite story for the character. And you know what I liked really a lot about him is, I don't know if you ever read Brian Azzarello's Joker, the graphic novel.
Mm-mm.
It's great. And they do a very different version of the Croc. He's human. But it make him like a huge black dude with scaly skins and a grill who eats people. And I'm like, it's a much more like that. I'll send that to you now because it's very grounded take on Joker, but it also redefines a lot of the Batman villains. But it's Croc just being the quintessential muscle that he is.
And that's really what he is. I mean, I think sometimes you get him folks focusing on him mutating and being like literally another lizard,
right,
or something like that. But when you and I think they might be going that direction in the Suicide Squad movie. You just make him muscle, make him the muscle. You know, the muscle for the mobsters. You know,
so, and it works.
Yeah, definitely does. Definitely does. Again, we talked a little bit of Solomon Grundy a little bit. Again, kind of used this way. I know in the same thing in the games. But then you brought up a good one because it ties to the current Rebirth Detective Comics, Clayface.
So there have been a bunch of Clayfaces.
Definitely.
I'm not going to get into all of them.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's way too many.
But the idea behind Clayface is the most famous version of Clayface is an actor who needed something to regain his youth and use his experimental that turned him into a monster that could shapeshift and all these things. It's really kind of remarkable that you read it and you're like, wait a second, shouldn't this be what he asked for? It's that the monkey's paw of witch fulfillment, if you will. And the way they're using him in Detective Comics is kind of For me, the first use of him in a very long time that makes tons of sense. Because he says, you know, I've kind of done this for a while. I want to see what happens if I can try to be, you know, good.
Yeah, it's Basil, right? Yeah.
I think it's Basil Karlo.
Basil Karlo. What I liked about that detective comic, it was actually almost kind of sad. And again, some of the, I think that makes some of the Batman characters really good is some of them can be almost as tragic as Batman's origin.
Right.
And so in the Detective Comics issue that they just did with Rebirth, it was almost sad because he's literally like Batman shows up and he's just like, oh come on man, I just wanted to watch him. I just wanted to watch this movie. I just want to. I just want to watch my movie and think about myself of when I was younger and wasn't like this. I just scared them to have the movie theater to myself. Please don't take me back, you know. And you really kind of feel that. You're like, oh damn, come on, Batman, don't take him back to Arkham. And Batman doesn't. He's like, I got a different choice. I got a different idea for you. How about we do this, you know? And again, it's that. The thing that makes villains so interesting sometimes is that arc you have. Yeah, there's a good chance they'll go bad again, but having that arc and doing something new with them, it makes them more interesting.
And like stories like this that make me very happy and very excited for Rebirth. I'm going to read from Detective Comics. It wasn't always like this. Back before I was Clayface, back when I was Basil Karlo, I was on my way to the top. Red carpet, movie premieres, $1 million mansions, fast cars, beautiful women. And that was just the start. I had big plans. I had an ambition. I also had a temper. People pissed me off. People insulted me. People got hurt. They never changed. I don't figure it's ever gonna. My entire career went down the drain when I hit that director. It took my life away, so I became Clayface to get revenge. Still had the big plans, still had the ambition, and more than anything else, still had the temper.
Another interesting thing they did with him was, again, in Hush, they use him to kind of... And again, there's another thing with the rogues is when you have a rogue gallery and you're wearing down a hero, you hit him at different ways, and you can wear him down, and you hit him psychologically. They have him pretending to be Jason Todd come back to life.
Yeah. Oh, and he also has a great boss fight in Arkham City.
Yes, he does.
He's actually really tight in the whole plot, and it comes out really well.
Yeah, definitely does. And that's actually, you're right, that is a really good one. And like I said, the Jason Todd, because when, you know, Jason Todd comes back, you're like, Jason Todd, and then it hits at Batman, and then you realize, oh, it's Clayface.
Right.
And, you know, again, it's just that way of trying to catch Batman off guard. And we'll get into that more when we hit some of the strategists. But that's the way to get the Batman. The most successful people have either been the strategist or Joker, you know, and you can use somebody like Clayface who can look like anybody to do that. There's another time when he was it was in the Scott Snyder's New 52, the part where he pretends to be Bruce Wayne, and he reminds Bruce about this is right after Damian died. And it kind of, when Batman's there, he kind of loses his cool because it's like he reminds him of Damian. So he brings up, you couldn't save your boy, you know, and it's just, you know, it's that way of hitting at Batman. So we did Clayface that we talked about. All right, again, Monsters, Mutants, don't know I didn't really know where to put Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze. I didn't know where to put him, so I put him in here a little bit.
Okay. I want to talk Freeze, because we can talk about first appearances, we can talk about history of the character. For me, this character doesn't matter until Paul Dini and Bruce Timm do Batman the Animated Series. For those who don't know, before this, Mr. Freeze was the evolution of an old Batman villain called Mr. Zero, I believe. But Dini and Tim, if you've never seen the Batman Animated Series episode, Heart of Ice,
yeah,
it won Emmys. It didn't just win animation Emmys. It won story Emmys. It transformed Mr. Freeze from a third-tier Batman villain to a tragic story of a man who just wanted to save his wife, but just life conspired against him, and he got forced in his life of crime to try to save his wife. And it's a depiction that's carried on through Arnold Schwarzenegger ruining him in a movie, all the way to when the New 52 started. It made him, even when he was doing horrific things, a sympathetic character and allowed you to tell different stories than you normally would with a Batman villain. And we'll talk about another character that Dini and Tim added to the mythos, but this is the one that I think got the best end of the bargain under their pen.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, he was, you said it literally was one of those, they bring him back in Batman, in the animated series, and then that's when he kind of starts magically appearing back in the comic books again. And then somehow rockets into, like, you know, one of the, you know, greatest villains of all time list because of this, you know? And
they let Schwarzenegger play him in a big budget movie they thought was going to be good.
Right.
Back when Schwarzenegger was a git. Like, that was, yeah.
And again, it goes back to this idea of the tragic character. Terminally ill wife. Another little thing that always comes up with these Batman villains is a lot of them are former psychologists or former scientists. So you have a scientist here, and it's a story that you can get behind. It's like, oh man, he's just trying to save his wife. So one thing that they did, one story I've read that you can read that kind of again retells the story in the comic book form. It's Batman Snow. I think was it Snow? Yeah. So it kind of retells the story a little bit, but the one that really gets me and I really enjoy it completely takes what you think you know of Mr. Freeze and his origin and Nora, his wife Nora, and completely turns it on its head. Is Batman Annual #1 that Scott Snyder did, and I think it's off of so out of the first volume. I think it's the first.
Yeah,
volume.
and this is honestly you're about to talk about it, but I wanted to say this is how New 52 is supposed to work.
Yeah,
you take a good story and you make it better.
Yeah, you take a story that everyone knows, and you go, what if we change something and take what you think you know? And basically turn you into Jon Snow, you know nothing. You know? And that is what they did with Mr. Freeze. Let me see if I can find. I have it. Here we go. So in the story, you have, in the annual, you have Victor breaking out of Arkham again, and he's trying to get to his wife. And let me see here. At one point, you have, it tells you that Victor is always blamed, not Batman, but Bruce Wayne. Well, kind of Batman, but mostly Bruce Wayne, for standing in his way. Because you have, when Victor was working for Bruce, and I have the panel. Mr. Wayne, you don't understand. This is Nora, my wife, and I understand perfectly, Dr. Freeze. I shut this project down months ago, and yet you've continued to work on your own private experiments. Your methods haven't been reviewed or tested, and you're about to administer them to a person who has no means of consent. I cannot allow you to continue playing mad scientist while you neglect the research you were hired to do. Please, you must understand. My Nora, she's the only woman I have ever loved. In her condition, there are surgeries now, procedures developed since she was frozen that could repair her heart. It's all for her. Please, Mr. Wayne, let me continue. No, Victor, I've called the authority. And then, it goes from here, and he gets, the accident happens. He becomes Mr. Freeze, everything that happens. So you cut back, and you have, Mr. Freeze here in front of Nora. You don't understand what you're meddling with, Batman. I will not let you walk out of the door with her. You have no right to stand between a man and the woman he loves. Victor, you and I, and this is where you're reading this, and you're going, what the fuck? Victor, you and I both know that woman is not your wife. I love her. How could you, Victor? You've never even met her. Her name is Nora Fields, and she was born in 1943. She was diagnosed with an incurable heart condition when she was 23 years old. She had just graduated from college. She was engaged to be married to a young lawyer when it happened. Her family decided to put her under a new and controversial treatment where one day she might awaken and find a new life in a future where she wouldn't have to die at the age of 25. She was the first person. She was the first person to undergo cryogenic stasis. Victor, you wrote your doctoral thesis on her over a decade ago. The chance to study her was the entire reason you came to work at the Wayne Industries. She's been in this building for years. You never knew her, and yet you come back time and time again. Mr. Freeze out to save his dying wife from the cruel businessman who took her away. Well, we both know that's a farce, Victor. She's old enough to be your grandmother, for God's sake.
And he goes from heartbreaking and sad to, oh my God, you creepy, creepy bastard.
Right. Like, you're like, oh my God, you're no longer the tragic character. You really belong in Arkham. Like,
yeah.
You really do need help. You are nuts. You are crazy. The other thing that gets me about that is, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought there. Shit. I was going to say something about that. But it's just, oh no, I know what it was. So also in this, there's also, they have flashbacks to when Victor was a child. And they show you that his mom had some disease, and he ended up pushing his mom into the water, into the ice water, to I guess give her. And I guess his mom was crazy too. So now you see it's, oh my God, it's hereditary. Like,
yep,
his mom was crazy. He's fucking crazy. He killed his mom and nobody knew. And because at first they make it seem like he's just a good young kid. And then you're like, oh my God, no. His mom's crazy. Because she had carved, she was like, oh yeah, apples, I carved them. And she literally carved two like apple shaped cuts into her hand.
Yeah.
It's like, she's nuts. And you're like, oh my God, you really are sick. But like you said, this goes back to, this is what the New 52 should have been. Taking the mythos so that you understand, and the origin of the character and the understanding of the character, and tweaking it just a little bit to make it even more insane.
Yeah.
So, again, that was one of my, like you said, between the animated series and then this change in New 52. I'd be really interested to see what they do with New Rebirth with this, to see if they keep this.
Well, that's what's happening. Or Rebirth, I should say, is it's felt less like a reboot, more like a very much a soft reboot. Right. So maybe they kept it. I hope they did. It's a great wrinkle that, honestly, after 20 years, maybe the mythos needed changing. Because I felt bad for Victor Freeze for 20 years.
Yeah, and now you're like, oh,
now
no.
I'm like, well, fuck him, psychopath.
Yeah, no, you are a crazy person. You belong in Arkham. Because that's the other thing too. Some of these people don't believe, and for a long time you're like, well, maybe he doesn't belong in Arkham. Yeah, sure. I mean, he's Mr. Freeze and stuff like that, but he has a purpose. Wouldn't if we were in Victor Freeze's position, wouldn't we do the same?
Right.
Wouldn't we fight to save the one we love? And then you realize it's like, oh, you don't even know this woman. You think she's your wife. And before he became Mr. Freeze, and that's what the New 52 writing does, is before he became Mr. Freeze, he was already obsessed. He was already calling her his wife and doing all this. You're like, oh my God, no, this has been an ongoing thing. You were truly nuts. I guess that's a good segue, talking about truly nuts and psychological villains, to go into the next villains.
Right.
And I find these are the villains that tend to fuck with Bruce Wayne / Batman's mind. One using fear toxin in Scarecrow, and the other one I thought that was very interesting. I started reading more about, and I remember my first really thinking of him was, I think it was Arkham City. Yeah, it was Arkham City.
Yeah.
He was a villain in there. But then going back and reading some of the issues, Hugo Strange, who I read, was it Prey? Yeah, Batman Prey.
That's the first time he shows up post-crisis.
Right. And then it was Batman and the was it Batman versus the Monster Men?
Batman and the Monster Man, yep.
Batman and the Monster Man.
Which it seems like their spoilers may be doing again right now. There's a really big clue in Batman 1.
Oh.
It's sorry. Huh. But yeah, there's a really big clue in Batman 1 that ties to an old Doctor Strange story. There's a person depicted in shadow. And he says a line. He says something about the clock is struck, and that's one of Hugo Strange's lines in this book, Batman 1 from I think 1972.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's going to be great. I'm really excited for it.
So the thing about Hugo Strange is just Like, to me, there were two depictions in Batman Prey and then Batman and the Monster Man. With Batman Prey, you really get that Hugo Strange is like deranged and crazy himself, and like there's that he literally talking to a mannequin. Like, for the while, it took me a while to realize it was just a mannequin. It wasn't like another woman in the room with him, like a mannequin. And you have him obsessed with the Batman, and he's been brought on by the mayor to help Jim Gordon and the task force to bring in Batman. And you see him using all these his just kind of like trying to break down how Batman reacts and how he is, and it gets to the point of being scary because you can see he kind of wants to be Batman a little bit, and is just really, 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 really obsessed with him.
You say kind of. I say wearing a batsuit makes you crazy.
You're right. You're
okay.
Right. You're right. But he also does a good job, despite his craziness. He also does a good job of really kind of reading Batman.
Oh yeah,
and reading who he is. He goes on a TV program once. You also mentioned obsessed with individual power. Why? Well, that's obvious. He hasn't chosen to join the police force, has he? He's a rogue who acts alone. He's the curious part, the fascinating aspect. And here's the curious part, the fascinating aspect. The man, he does not wish to share his victories and accomplishments, yet he insists on remaining anonymous, you see. He craves fame, wants to be a star, but not as himself, only as his fictional construct, the Batman. And it's funny, during this part in Prey, Bruce is home listening to Hugo Strange talk about this, and at one point he's listening to him and he got his eyes closed, but he's like, you could tell the thing is getting to him. Could he end up crushing the glass in his hand and cutting his hand? So he knows that, and while Hugo Strange might not understand it, might not know right at that moment, he knows that Hugo Strange can get into him, and that's the whole thing about Batman Prey, is, you know, Hugo Strange throughout this entire run is kind of getting Bruce to kind of question himself. Mm-hmm. And he's constantly knowing that I can't let him get under my skin. I can't let him wear me down. Let me see. Yeah, at one point, Hugo Strange puts on a Batman costume and is like standing on the ledge and goes, yes, the dark thrill conferred by the costume, the freedom and the power of frightening anonymity, almost omnipotence. I can see why, and he almost falls, almost fell. I can share his mind, but not his body. I can know how it feels to be Batman psychologically, but not physically. God, how I envy him, how I hate him. And this is when he goes off on the mannequin. It's like he starts talking to me, and you're like, oh my God, this dude is brilliant, but it's fucking nuts.
Super nuts.
Super nuts. In Batman and the Monster Man, it's funny. It starts off, and you're watching this figure, like physically, like do aerobics and acrobatics, and you're like, oh, that's Bruce Wayne. Then they come in, and it's Hugo Strange. And so what they do is they kind of change the difference between Hugo Strange and Batman and the Monster Man and Batman Prey is, in Batman Prey, Hugo Strange has no physical, is just a weakling. Like he's not physically up to par with anybody. And Batman and the Monster Man, he kind of is. He does try, but they also kind of play on him being bald, him not having good eyesight because he wears glasses, and being short. Because at one point in Batman and the Monster Man, his goal is not to be a psychologist, but he's working on like fixing genetic defects, and so he's working on, and he's literally creating these monsters. So at one point he goes to this, I can't remember what kind of event it is, but Bruce is there. I think Falcone is there, and he's trying to sell his work to like a group of people. And I can't remember who the woman was that kind of calls him out on it. It's like, so you can fix. You saying that one day we can fix genetic defects? He's like, yes. He's like baldness. Yes. You like eyesight? Yeah. You mean like your height? And she kind of like narrows it down and just just kind of humiliates him, and that's his motivating factor there. Like, to me, he's a little bit less crazy, portrayed a little bit less crazy in Batman and the Monster Men than he was in Batman and Prey. And I don't know, I think I like the Prey version of him better, where he is kind of deranged. I don't know.
I like the different ways and the versatility and the different ways he can attack Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Making him a physical threat, I always thought was like a weird idea with this.
Right.
Like, it just felt like me, like, why to add that, you had to take away something interesting about the character and maybe it limits your storytelling. I don't know. Because you're kind of, once you've made him a physical threat, you got to have him fight Batman.
Right.
Meanwhile, before, you had to find other ways to screw with him. Right. But I really enjoyed his turn in Arkham City. Yeah. Not the Arkham game with the best, most concise storyline, but I thought Hugo Strange's obsession really, writ large, kind of informed the whole thing, especially when you tie it to the Easter eggs that are found in Arkham Asylum.
Right. Like, to me, I think the best Hugo Strange, like you said, is the one that is obsessed with Batman, who can, in a way, figure out. I think in Prey, he thinks he knows who Batman is. I think he kind of figures it out. But that's the one I like. I like the one that's crazy. And they kind of try to get to there a little bit in Batman and the Monster Man. They don't. They make him realize, like, I'll never be able to physically keep up with Batman. And he envies him. And he goes on the program on TV and have him literally trying to diagnose who Batman is and try to get into his mind. That, to me, is always the best Batman. I mean, the best Hugo Strange. It just is. I mean, that's going to be the one that, because they're going to get into, we get into Strategists. That's how you get to Batman. You wear him down and you break him down because, like we said, Bruce is crazy. And what's one thing that a crazy person never wants to hear? Crazy person never wants to hear that they are crazy.
You can't tell them.
You can't tell them.
It's gonna be a surprise, I guess.
And I think the thing with Bruce is, unlike, I think the thing that separates Bruce Wayne from some of the other crazy people is, I think Bruce does know he's crazy. He doesn't want to hear it. So with Hugo Strange, it's like you have this guy who goes on TV and is literally breaking down what Bruce already knows and believes, and is hoping nobody else sees, or hopes that he can just tell people that know him, like Alfred or Tim or Dick or Barbara, or he's hoping that they'll just let him exist and they won't bring it up. He doesn't want to hear it, because even every now and then when you hear Alfred talk to Bruce about, oh, hey, you should take it easy, you shouldn't do this, you should go and do this, those are one of the few times when you'll see Bruce kind of snipping at Alfred. He doesn't want to hear that. So when you have a villain who will go on, like, who is a respect, like, in both Batman the Monster Man and Batman Prey, Hugo Strange, Batman and Bruce can't tie anything to Hugo Strange, so Hugo's allowed to go about his business. I think, towards the end of, at one point in Prey, he does. Like, the end of Prey, it becomes clear that, Hugo Strange is crazy. But before he could do that, Hugo had already gone on TV, had given his diagnosis of Batman, and it infuriates Bruce, and he didn't want that coming out. And at the end of at the end of Monster Men, same thing. Bruce is out there, and he's literally stopping in front of a bunch of TVs, and you have Hugo there going, Professor, what can you tell us about the psyche of the man who would go to such lengths? It's a very complex case, Kathy, or should I say head case, because make no mistake, he's surely quite insane, and an emotionally stunted persona. So you think he's dangerous? Oh, undoubtedly. Hasn't he already committed the legal definition of assault many times over? Such obsessive compulsive behavior is utterly disconnected from the rest of reality. He's not concerned with how the rest of the world thinks or feels. All that matters to this Batman is his own perverse and relentless version of justice. He will stop at nothing to achieve those ends. As you would say, Deepam, where's the lie?
Look, he points out that Batman's crazy. That doesn't make him any less crazy.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
No, he's definitely... I'm not getting... Listen, you don't have to worry about me. I'm not getting a Hugo Strange t-shirt. All right?
Hugo was right.
I'm not getting a Hugo was right. Although, now as you say it...
Now
that you said it out loud.
It's hard to ignore.
Another one that kind of goes in there is less about really breaking down Bruce or Batman by reading him and going by. It's Scarecrow, and Scarecrow basically just uses his fear toxin. But he's also has a background in psychology, so there's that. What was we had the first appearance of Scarecrow? First appearance, World Finest #3. Real name Jonathan Crane. Jonathan Crane, sorry. And he's another one that which Arkham game was it that he had? He's basically in all of them, and you always get the
Arkham City or Arkham Knight. He's the main bad guy.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. He's the main bad guy. So there's that. Well, they kind of escalate to Scarecrow being the main bad guy in there. So.
Well, honestly, the whole arc, because he's in the first one, and I think there's 2 Easter eggs to him in the second one, and the third one, Arkham Knight, is where he kind of makes his move.
Yeah. And what's the run for him? Was it Fear?
I've read so many goods. That's the other thing about this. The Scarecrow is a great twist because, as we know, Batman utilizes fear in his attempts to fight crime.
Right.
Scarecrow uses fear in a very different way. And it's interesting for me because it lets you kind of see, and especially when he runs up against him, because we like to think of Batman as someone who has no fear. And Scarecrow tends to correct us of that thought over and over again.
A lot. What's your favorite Scarecrow run?
I don't even know. I really liked his depiction in Hush because it allowed you to see a different side of the character.
True.
Because it wasn't just the I'm testing these things and I'm a crazy person who likes to see the power of fear. I really liked how they brought him into Blackest Night and how he complains about nothing can scare him but Batman. Which is a very Jeff Johnsian wrinkle to add to a character like this, but how he wants to feel fear again. And it was something I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. But it was a very subtle, very revealing turn on the character.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, he's always used. I was gonna say he's almost underused, but I don't know. It's like
he's used judiciously.
He is, and it's just I think he might be one of the villains out of the core of when you think of Batman villains. I think he's the one that kind of doesn't get enough respect in a way.
100%.
I think there's more to, cause like you said, it's like Batman instills fear in his enemy. What do you do with a villain that is fear?
Right.
And that's why I think that the Arkham Knight game, it was nice to see him nice to have him be the main villain.
Right.
And like I said, I'll put some in there. Like I had a list of them, but we'll put some of the Scarecrow runs in there. But there's a lot, and like you said, it's. I like to see him. I think the Long Halloween, he's crazier than anything else. I like him when he's a little bit more deliberate.
Right.
When he's a little bit more in control and he's a little bit more deliberate. I like that Scarecrow, and I think that's the one that that probably causes a little bit more fear in Batman than anything else.
Definitely, he's also really well depicted in a bunch of the animated series. Absolutely. Including an episode called Over the Edge, where it's basically Batgirl dies on duty in front of her father, and Gordon brings down Batman, but it's all a fear-induced dream from Batgirl.
Right.
Really, really well done.
Yeah. So, all right. So we got that. All right. So let's move into. We got the psychological villains down a little bit. Let's move into which I think might be. Some of my favorite ones, just because that we've been doing a lot of guys, calling them our Femme Fatales, the 3 big ones: Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn. Which they actually have there's actually a book with all three of them in there. Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah, man, great book.
Great, you're right. It is a great book. I didn't get to finish it all, but I started reading it. And I'm like, oh, this is great. The interesting thing about this one, and we'll get when we talk about Catwoman a little bit more. This is after Catwoman knows that Batman has revealed himself to Catwoman, and they're having a relationship. So at one point, when they're all Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley all decide to move in together, Harley and Poison Ivy decide that they're going to tie up Catwoman, their friend, and Poison Ivy's going to force her to tell them who Batman is.
Right.
And with friends like that, who needs enemies? Let me see. I have my real quick. We'll go through the Poison Ivy, real name Pamela Isley. Batman 181 is her first appearance. Catwoman, obviously Selena Kyle. First appearance, Batman #1. And Harley Quinn's always my favorite one because her first appearance is literally in the animated series Joker's favor. Her first actual comic book appearance is Batman Adventures #12. But Harley Quinn's one of those ones that literally comes from the animated series and made it into the comics. And she's such a staple in the comics now. You easily forget that she was an animated series. She's a bring over from the animated series.
Oh yeah, people always forget that this is literally, like I praised Tim and Dini earlier for what they did with Victor Fries. They invented Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And her first appearance was it the first appearance on the series, and the first origin story we get for her is Mad Love. It's a Batman Adventures issue. Batman Adventures, for those who don't know, was when they would depict the animated series in comic book form. Mm-hmm. Mad Love is, I would tell you, go get it right now. It's a perfect book. Mm-hmm. Perfect book.
She was Joker psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum until she fell in love with him. Again, being a psychologist in Gotham is just not or psychiatrist in Gotham is just not a good profession.
Yo, honestly, let's just do this real quickly because I just want to get out of the way. Why live and work in Gotham? Like, these jobs can be done elsewhere.
Right. Outsourcing.
Telecommuting. You fly in for a couple days a week, like if you have to. Like,
well, you joke about that, but this is an interesting part. So
I'm not joking.
Well, no. At one point in Gotham City Sirens, the reason why they come together, Hush had removed Catwoman's heart. She had gotten back. She had gotten her revenge. They got a bunch of money.
Yeah.
She had split the money and given the money to also Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. And she comes to Ivy. She's like, wait, why didn't you guys leave? Harley spent all her money on a shopping spree. Poison Ivy gave it away to different, eco charities. She's like, why are you guys still here? I gave you guys this money so we could all leave Gotham. Why are you guys still here? And it's just funny when you mentioned that. I was like, yeah, even sometimes the villains think that. Why do we?
This is really bad racket.
Right? Why don't we just leave? we should do that. So, let's do it. Let's say Catwoman for last because she's
okay.
She's an interesting one to me. But with Poison Ivy, I like the Poison Ivy that they don't just straight out make her they don't just make her a sex object. Obviously, that's a part of it, but I like her almost being like a force of nature. Literally being a force of nature. That's the Poison Ivy I like because it gives her more. And I can't remember, was it oh my God, which storyline was it when she had the orphans? Oh my God, why am I?
Oh, actually, I know this one.
Oh my God, it's No Man's Land. Wasn't that part?
Oh, okay, yeah. When they kind of divide up the city after the earthquake.
Right, and what I like about that is because as much as Ivy is almost sees herself as not human and being plant, and being all nothing but nature, you also get her having, and this is you can say this for all the all three of these female characters. She still sometimes has that mothering instinct, and it's I like the fact that all three of these female villains, they're not just one dimensional. They just don't make them, and I think they're best this way. You just don't make them sex objects because there's so much more than that. And I like Gotham City Sirens as my run for them because you can find them throughout everything. Like again, Poison Ivy and is used in Hush to kind of get in and to bring in Catwoman, to bring in Batman, things like that. I think Harley's even in Hush. Like all three of them are in Hush.
Right.
But I like Gotham City Sirens because there is literally all three characters and they're on their own. They're not there, as a product of Batman or in Harley's case, the Joker. And I like seeing that there's so much more to them other than that, than the male characters that we normally see them and associate them with. And it makes them interesting to me. So.
No, 100%. I really like the Gotham City Sirens book because it let them show agency, like you said, outside of the home character. Mm-hmm. That's why I also liked. There are really great runs on Catwoman's book because she had her own book for a very long time. It was very well written, and now Harley Quinn's getting her own book, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Why?
Just because she's, like I said, it'd be weird to read a Joker book. It feels weird to read a Harley Quinn book. I understand some of the different character choices they've made in New 52 kind of make her more amenable to this, and they kind of show growth in that character. But I don't know. It just it feels like less story driven, less like, oh, we've got a really good Harley story to tell. More like this is a marketable character.
Yeah, I can see that. What'd you say? Because I
which is fair. I get it. It's a business. I'm not that much of a curmudgeon. It's just for me the things I've seen out of Harley Quinn that have led us down this road, not that appealing to me.
Right. Well, what I'm hoping what they do with Harley Quinn is, I think you get a little bit of that in Gotham City Sirens. They try to work with it. I really want you to start. I really think they need to work, and I hope maybe they do this with Rebirth. Really divorce her from Joker so much. Like I know they've tried in New 52.
Well, they did it once where she beat the shit out of him in a prison cell.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I enjoyed and I thought was a good move, but again, I don't know if I'm just being overly not protective of the character, but overly reverential. It didn't strike me as definitive, and I know that sounds weird and strange, but the fact that you had to tell the story of her walking away shows me how tied she is to the character.
Right, and well, not only that, but then it almost feels like they kind of they're always going to bring her back, and I think that's the one thing, the one aspect of Harley. I like the idea of Harley and Joker having this toxic relationship. I understand that, but I would like it to be more like the Catwoman and the Catwoman and Batman relationship, where it's I feel like with Catwoman, she has more agency over and choice in her relationship with Batman than I feel like Harley does sometimes. Does that make any sense? It's just, I don't know. It's
no,
just,
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
I understand, everybody has toxic relationships, but to me, it always seems one-sided with Harley. And when we talk more about Catwoman and Batman, Batman has his doubts, but so does Catwoman have her doubts.
Right.
And she's just like, I can leave you. Just I don't have time for this. If you don't, you know where to find me. I feel like Joker walks away and uses and abuses Harley when he feels like it, and she always comes back.
No, I agree.
And I think that like you said, I think there's a good character there, and there's good stories you can tell. And if you can divorce Harley, and again, that's why I like what I've been reading so far in Gotham City Sirens. Although I know kind of how it ends and how she does kind of go back to him a little bit, but the other sirens come in and help. But I like it because you get Harley being Harley, and she doesn't need Mr. J. She doesn't need Joker, and I would like to see more of that because, like you said, I think that's the next evolution of the character, and I think that's what makes these characters great is to evolve them. And going back to Poison Ivy, there's that one part where, so in the Hush storyline, the real mastermind is Riddler, and Pamela does not take kindly to that. So in Gotham City Sirens, you see what she's done to Riddler, which is basically turned him into a drooling yes man whose apartment she's crashing in.
She wasn't pleased with being used.
She wasn't. And what's great about it is, at one point in the middle of a fight that breaks out in the apartment, and the apartment gets destroyed, Riddler snaps out of the the mind control that Poison Ivy has over him. He looks around and is like, "What's going on? What happened to my place, my apartment?" And Poison Ivy just goes, "Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for letting us use your place. We're going to leave now." So, but again, it's like that kind of agency you have with her and Catwoman. I just don't see right now. And maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll improve it with Harley Quinn. But I kind of like to see that. I think that all these other characters have gotten the ability to move forward. And again, they kind of seem like they kind of flirt with it with Harley, but you always kind of feel like she's always going to go back.
Yeah.
I would kind of like to see it that she's literally over him. Because one point in Gotham City Sirens, at one point, I think Catwoman or somebody goes, "Come on, Harley, we want you to understand that Joker's bad for you. You don't need him." And she goes, "Oh, Mr. J, I don't even think about him. Unless, did he talk about me? Did he ask about me?" And I'm just like, "Oh, no, come on, you're almost there." So I don't know. So I would like to see that. With Catwoman, Selena Kyle, what's interesting about this is, and I like the Hush storyline because Hush storyline really is like a really good beginning of the Bruce and Selena relationship, with him literally coming in and trusting Selena, but then it also ends with you not understanding if he really wanted to do that or if it was her or him under control of Poison Ivy. And she basically leaves him like you figure it out. You know where to find me.
Right.
You tell me. And I find that to be it's just an interesting dynamic. Like I think was it Tim that was in the Bat Cave when she shows up when she's there. He's like, "I don't trust her." He's like, "Well, you trust me. I already told her." So you told her that you're Bruce Wayne? Like, she's a villain though. But she's another one of those characters you get to see both sides of. You get to see her. You get this. It reminds me of is it Arkham Knight, where you get the choice of walking away from Batman and not saving him when the game ends?
Yeah. That kind of. It's Arkham City.
It's Arkham City. You're right, and that is to me really represents Catwoman because she wants to get this appearance that she's gonna walk away, but she never really does.
She never actually will.
She never actually will. Even in The Long Halloween, for the longest time, she's there helping Batman and kind of pushing him along to figure out the clue and helping him figure out the clues. But then at the end, when Harvey is going to go kill Carmine and is there and brawl the rogues together, Batman Master's like, "Whose side are you on?" She's like, "The same side I'm always on, mine."
Right.
Which again sums up, like, that's why I like The Long Halloween. It sums up that character so well. Whose side are you
any
on?
questions?
Yeah.
It's like, that's her.
Yeah. I'm on my side. I'm on the side that does best for me. And like I said, she's done really well. Gone from being a thief. I think sometimes in their backgrounds they have her as a dominatrix, stuff like that. I like the more practical costumes they have for her, and not the just overly sexualized. Like, don't go too far.
Like the Darwin Cook, that run was really great.
Which one?
The Darwin Cook one, where she's almost like she's completely covered.
Yeah.
I thought it was really the art was really. I'm just a big Darwin Cook fan. R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. I think later on, at one point in one of the books, her training was from Wildcat Ted Grant. There's another interesting thing that I didn't know that they had done, but they've never really answered this, but she might be actually the illegitimate daughter of Falcone.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to The Long Halloween, where Batman's like, "Why are you always here?" Like every time he's following Falcone, she's there. So it was just, to me, it was an interesting thing to have them later on these issues, I think before the New 52, kind of hinting at the fact that she might be the illegitimate daughter of Falcone. But they never really answer it. And it's like, oh, well, if you were, that actually might explain, some things. So
explain a lot.
Yeah, explain a hell of a lot. Yeah, I think she's in the rogue gallery, but she's really more gray than anything else. Like, I can't think of a time when she's really legit a real villain. She does villainous shit. Like, even in the Hush storyline, she's kind of stealing the money and taking the money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's small time. You're never gonna. She's never part of the plot to take over the world or to destroy Gotham City. That's not her thing.
She's a thief.
Right. So, I like that. Who is the girl that's always with her that they have?
Holly Robinson?
Yes. So they have that. They have her. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of things they do with Catwoman, I think, are really, really well done. And again, the way they do her relationship with Batman is also really well. At one point in the Hush storyline, Talia shows up. And she's basically like, I smelled the other woman on you. Like, I know there's somebody else you love. But then that comes back in Gotham City Sirens, because when I said that Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn tie up Selena to try to find out, you know who Batman is. You're in a relationship with Batman. You can't tell me you guys have sex with your cows on all the time. Like, you're in a relationship with Batman. Who the fuck is Batman? And they have this really cool thing where basically what happened was Talia invites Selena to come over to train her how to hide the identity of who Batman really is. Because she's like, listen, I love him. You love him. Then if we're going to do this, then you need to know how to protect who he is. And I thought that was really, I was like, that's not bad. That's actually pretty smart. And then the way they do it is they have her basically tell Poison Ivy and Harley, which again makes sense. They're like, she's like, no. They're like, cause at one point she goes, Batman is Bruce Wayne. And they're like, and then she goes, it's also Jim Gordon. And then she starts listening to a bunch of people. She's like, yeah, Batman's been a bunch of different people. Some of them real, some of them not. She's like, how do you think, she's like, do you really think it's one man? Think about how many times he's gotten his ass kicked. It's no way it's one man. And she tells this believable story, and you're like, hey, that makes sense, but it's all because of the things that Talia has kind of taught her how to hide this identity of Batman. And like I said, it's really, really well done, and it makes sense. So the reason why I don't include Talia in the Femme Fatales, we're going to talk about her when we get to Raish. So
yeah, that's a family thing.
That's a family. That's a family of crazy nut people. Anything else we want to say on these three here?
No, I like that. We could probably do 3 or 4 more, but just as a good section of. I'm glad he's got a subsection of female rogues,
right? Who are well defined, and like I said, they're never as crazy almost never as crazy and as bad as the guys. Like, you can find good in them. Well, maybe not Harley.
No, Harley's.
Yeah, Harley's just a nutcase. So there's that. Yeah. She does save Bruce in Gotham City. Well, Sam. She actually saves Tom. Not Tom. Was it Hush? What's the fucking name? Can't. I'm having a. It's late night, guys. I'm sorry.
Tommy Elliott.
Yeah, Thomas. She does. Tommy. She saves Tommy, who's disguised as Bruce. So there's that. But yeah, no. But I also got to bring up the games, and the reason why I bring up the games, and I normally don't do this, the Arkham games are just really, really fucking good.
They're so much fun. I'm replaying Arkham Knight right now. Actually.
Yeah, and they're so good, and they nail the characters so well. So I really liked the way they use Poison Ivy in all 3 of those games as well.
Right.
And again, especially the last one in Arkham Knight, it goes back to, the way they use Poison Ivy. You're just like, wow, it's not all bad. You would think, but they're still, like, as much as she tries to act like she's not human, she still has some good in her, and she'll still do some good things. So I really enjoy that there. So, all right, so we're done with our women. Let's move into our strategist. I just mentioned him before. I kind of put Hush in here, Thomas Elliott. I had nowhere else to really put him, but I figured we should mention him in here. I don't think he really stands with the other three we're going to mention.
Well, the thing is, he had such a great first arc.
Yeah.
Jeff Loeb wrote basically we're going to tour the Batverse and just told a story that made you want to keep reading. Mm-hmm. And introduced a character, and it's one of it's like the purloined letter where they reference in the book is that you get the answer to the mystery up front, and the mystery is who's Hush, and they tell you from the jump who's the new character. Right. So it's Thomas Elliott, it's an old friend. They do a really good job of defining that relationship, I thought, even in the short run it is. But it's Jeff Loeb, it's Jim Lee, and it's the two of them saying, we're going to just take a lap around the Bat universe, and this new character's going to do it for us. And I thought everything that came after with Hush was a little disappointing.
I didn't read it. I read the synopsis of some of it, and I was like,
that's all you had to read.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say that the first run was pretty good, and leave it there. Yeah, and I thought it was because just you get the it's probably Thomas Elliott, and you know it's Elliott is Hush. You don't really get why until you start reading the entire story, and as you get the why, you're like, again, mommy and daddy issues, but his parents die in a car crash.
He wanted his parents to die.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you hear his parents dying in a car crash. Thomas Wayne tries to save him. He can only save his mother. No,
right. His mother lived.
He saved his mother, and so his father. So you think this entire time that Tommy and they were both close young friends, and they did everything together. Like there's this really awesome part where Thomas Wayne takes them both to I think it's Metropolis for the first time, and they see Green Lantern fighting. I can't remember who was
Icicle.
Yeah, and it's like they both see, and they're both in awe. They see a superhero, and it's amazing to them. And so when you hear about his parents in a car crash, and that Thomas Wayne can't save his father, you're thinking that Tommy blames Bruce and Thomas Wayne for not saving his dad, and then it's revealed it's like, I didn't blame you. I didn't blame your dad for not saving my dad. I blamed him for saving my mom.
Who do you think cut the brake line?
Right. And you're like, oh shit. You are nuts.
Yep.
You wanted your parents to die. Holy shit.
And this is before he steals Bruce's face and all the other
crazy shit. Yeah. This is, before.
This is the tip of the iceberg of crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that. And so you have, and even there, and this is what makes Hush such a great storyline. For the longest time, you're thinking to yourself, oh, okay, it's, Tommy's the one that's been teaching, because Bruce at some point reacts, he's like, somebody's teaching my villains new tricks. They're teaching them how to do things they normally do. And so, again, you're like, oh, okay, it's Hush and blah, blah, blah. And then you realize it's not Hush.
Nope, it's our next guest.
Yeah.
The Riddler.
Yeah.
The one no one takes seriously.
Mm-hmm.
The one who everyone treats like a joke.
Yep. And let me see if I can. I want to bring. I had it. I thought I made a screenshot of it.
Of that page?
Yeah. Go. Keep going.
I'll see if I can find it for you.
I know I have it. It is basically when, Batman realizes it's the Riddler that was behind everything that he's been going through this entire time. So let me see here. So,
I got it.
Go ahead.
Well, which part do you want to read?
I almost want to read. I'm not
Batman
read
figuring it out.
I almost want to read Batman figuring. You read Batman figuring out, and
okay.
I'll read the Riddler stuff later on. So you read that. All right.
This is an Arkham Asylum at the very tail end of Hush. This will not be recorded. No one is listening in. I think you know why. I honestly didn't think you were capable of it. Criminal mastermind and you don't come together immediately. That was sort of the point, wasn't it? Was it? You still don't have all the pieces. That's why you're here. This is fun. Presumably it all began with Croc kidnapping the boy. You didn't need the ransom, did you? Elliot's wealth financed all of it. Essentially, but you can never really have enough money. You'd know that better than anyone. That's the Joker. That's the Riddler taunting. By the way, they haven't shown you the at this point.
Right.
You just see the panel is just Batman. By the way, Jim Lee draws like hell of a Batman.
And the thing about it is, the one thing they kind of give you a hint that you see who he's talking to, you just see a hand, and it's a purple glove. So you're like, maybe it's a fucking Joker.
Where did you get the kryptonite for Ivy's lipstick? Where did you get it for the ring? You have enemies in very high places, but you didn't hear that from me. So you promised Croc you could surgically cure his mutation for a price, and it's basically him breaking down things. Mm-hmm. Scarecrow did the evaluations. Everyone wants something. Poison Ivy? Money. And she's got a thing about Catwoman. Harley Quinn? Love. Getting to work with the Joker? The Joker. He couldn't have been easy. At first, when he heard the Jason Todd gag, he couldn't resist.
Which, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. The Jason Todd gag.
And then you angered Raish. He wasn't really playing. He got involved because you used one of the Lazarus pits, and he wanted me to find out who it was. Mm-hmm. It's so good. And then he says, how'd you know it was me? Elliot's medical records are in storage in Philadelphia. You didn't use your real name, but Arthur Wynn, the man who invented the crossword puzzle. That was a missing piece. And you turn that page, and it's the Riddler with his fucking feet up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then Batman becomes Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What time is it when an elephant sits on the fence?
Right. You were diagnosed as terminal. When you came out of the pit, you must have been quite mad. Not mad, angry. I used to be somebody in this town, and now everybody has a gimmick. I was going to show them all, and I did. Dr. Elliot must have been quite impressed by your miraculous recovery. Cancer brings cancer. It brings people together in a way. Well, you don't have it, so you wouldn't understand. But Elliot's mother died from it. I thought he'd pay a fortune for the cure. Turns out he wanted something more. He knew I was from Gotham City, and oh my, did he have a mad on for Bruce Wayne? So he came up with the bandaged man in the trench coat. Hush, hush. It started as a joke. We had to keep it a secret. Then Scarecrow started singing the song "Hush, Little Baby." It's about a kid who can't be satisfied and is stuck. But in order to make it all work, you had to solve the riddle. Yes, the Lazarus Pit gives you a kind of a unique clarity. Riddle me this: who is under Batman's mask? And the world is my oyster, right, Bruce? What, like you said, what time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? Time to get a new fence. Everyone knows that one is worthless. That's why I have nothing to fear from you. You had to tell Elliot, but no one else. Not even Clayface when he's playing Robin. I know you, Edward Nigma, maybe better than you know yourself. Riddles are your compulsion, your addiction. And a riddle that everyone knows the answer to is worthless. This is a panel of Riddler kind of put him like, wait, and he thinks about it, it's like, damn it, you got me. I know you're Batman. I know Batman's real identity, but I can't tell anybody because it's the greatest riddle of all time. It's really good. And in case you ever decide to trade on my identity, keep in mind, Ra's al Ghul is still looking for who uses Pit. Question: how would you fare against the entire League of Assassins? You have enemies in very high places, Edward.
It's perfect because it's not just Batman being a detective and figuring all this out. It's him using his knowledge of his villains to realize that he's in no danger.
Yeah.
You can't tell anyone. And if you do, the League of Assassins is coming.
Yeah.
Next question.
The thing I like about that, and then there's another one I liked, because we read it, the Year Zero stuff and then the Dark City stuff that Snyder did. Also really great because, again, it elevates Riddler. Because you think about Riddler and you think about, go back to the 60s TV show, Riddler's kind of seen as a joke. You don't consider
and rightfully so.
And rightfully so. So you don't really consider him like to be this, like you said, as Batman says in Hush, a criminal mastermind. I don't see you as that. When you get Hush and when you get Snyder's use of him in Dark City, where he basically takes over the entire city and he's holding the entire city of Gotham basically at his whim. you realize that, hey, you know what? Riddler can be a pretty fucking... he can be annoying. And I'll be honest, his challenges in the games can be...
super annoying.
Super annoying. But you realize he becomes more than an annoyance. I also love, I think in Zero when you have that... They have the little wheel, that one issue where he goes, where he's talking to Bruce.
Yep.
And there, and I love how they did that. I also like when, let me see here. There's in Death of the Family, when you have there, where you have Riddler's in a cell in Arkham, and Joker's come back. Riddler says, being incarcerated certainly has its upsides. That's my Eddie. Why don't you come out of that cell? There's so much we can do, so much to say. I'm putting on a show, of course. You probably guessed already and are already 10 steps ahead, aren't you, Eddie? Yes, of course. You'll find the key card to the door attached to that poor guard you just gunned down. Come on now, where's the fun in that? You've been locked in there for ages. You're the Riddler, for Pete's sake. Don't pretend you haven't figured out a dozen ways on your ways out on your first night. I know you better than that. You clearly want me involved in whatever you've got planned, so just open the door. I'm in no mood for your games, Joker. Don't lie to me, Eddie. You're always in the mood for games. Here, I'll make it interesting. The formulas are old and a bit diluted, but still powerful. It'll give you a couple minutes. I do know how much you love death traps, and he puts in like one of his Joker toxin balls into Eddie's cell. Stop this, Joker. No, that's the whole point. You stop this. You can't bring you along to the party if you're not at your best. How can I? And you certainly haven't been your best as of late. You always showed so much promise, Eddie. I love that in you. Right from the beginning, you see the bigger game. So what are you? So what the hell are you doing in there, Eddie? There's still good work to be done, but you'll have to up your game, pal. See, I can't bear to see you wasting in here. I'd rather see you dead. But look at the clock. You're almost there. There are 40. And here comes Eddie. Here comes Riddler. There are 46 ways out of that cell, Joker. Only 4 that met your time requirement. The easiest would have been to hit the glass perfectly at the shattering point. I opted for method 3, rewiring the door through the hole in the wall I carved 6 weeks ago. I could have left sooner, but they kept changing the guard shifts on me. I was waiting until the pattern presented itself. You're a bastard, you know that, right? I'm quite a bit more than that, Eddie. But so are you. That's the point, don't you see? But quickly now, we must finish getting ready. Care to take a guess at what I have in store? I know you're curious. This is Jeremiah Arkham's doctoral diploma. Well, I had to draw on something. Look it up. So he goes through here, and he kind of just sets it up. But you kind of see that. Another thing I liked about Death of the Family, while it's kind of like the end of it is kind of like the Bat family falling apart.
Right.
You kind of have Joker kind of calling out each of the different villains of other the other rows, kind of going.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing, guys? Come on. We're here to make Batman better.
Almost royal court.
You're right, and it's almost like when Zoom tells Wally, "I'm here to make you a better hero." Mm-hmm. It's kind of what Joker kind of does with the other villains. It's like, hey, listen, we're all here to make Bat at his best, and I can't have you guys joining me if you're not at your best. And he kind of knows, like, Joker knows. Hey, Riddler, you're different than everybody else. You're not like these other, these other villains who don't see the bigger picture. You do. Everybody kind of laughs at you because you just tell riddles. You're just telling jokes, but you see the game. You see it's so much more than that. And in a way, you like the Joker. He favors the game more than actually accomplishing, what he's setting out to do. The game is more important. Getting people to play that game and play along. So that's what I really liked about that. I like that Riddler best. The strategist Riddler, the one that's, if you think about it, it's fucking scary. So.
Yep.
All right. Last two in the strategists are, to me, next to the Joker, might be some of Batman's most dangerous villains. Just because, again, I think the way to get to Batman is to use strategy. Because what is Batman himself? He's the greatest strategist. When you want to take down somebody, you get Batman because Batman can figure it out. So the way to attack Batman is not to go head on, is to come at him using strategy, and that brings me to Bane and Raish.
Well, you talk about the people who've ever really beaten Batman are these two. That's it.
Yeah.
And Bane did it the first time he showed up.
Yeah. And
He blew up Blackgate, ran him ragged, and then
literally broke the bat. Broke the bat. We talked about this at the beginning a little bit. When you read the Vengeance of Bane, and you get Bane's origin story, make no mistake, there was no other choice for Bane than to become a villain.
None.
All right. His mother was sent to prison for being a rebel, and he's born, and because he's a male child, he's born to serve his father's time in prison. That was the archaic laws of this island nation they were on. That
Santa Prisca.
Yeah, he is born, and it's like, okay, you're a male child. You have to serve the time for your father.
All right. Never had a chance.
Born in prison. I want to, when his mother died, I can't remember how old he was, but he was then put in the general population. Like, so when he was still a child, before he was while his mom was still alive, they were at least in protective custody in the prison. Once his mom dies, your mother has left you quite alone, little one. She left you without a single guardian but the state. Comprende? But the state is no one's mother. You cannot expect the same treatment. You must fend for yourself, little one. I am releasing you from protective custody and the general population. Only a child, and set down among beasts. I was restricted to the infirmary block, and could not watch over him. This is the other one of the other guards. He was at one point he kills. He has to kill one of the other guys, and it's just he gets these visions of a bat-like demon, which kind of sets up his obsession with Batman. He's put into like a cell that floods, a solitary cell that floods at night. Like
less than ideal is what you're saying.
Literally, Bane's origin story is horrific. Like I'm reading it and I'm going, oh, you didn't have a choice.
Nope.
He gets venom. He's experimenting. Like he becomes strong and becomes a nuisance before he gets venom. And I think that's another key part to understand, that Bane is a badass without venom. They decided to give a badass this venom.
The steroid.
Right.
That it's terrifying.
Yeah. He teaches himself to read. He teaches himself other languages. Like he literally teaches himself. He's self-taught in everything, and that's what's so much impressive about Bane. Everything he knows is pretty much self-taught. Because I think even at one point they even say where other inmates smuggled in drugs and cigarettes and things like that, he smuggled in books.
He became and was depicted as the anti-Batman.
Yeah. Think of it this way. Imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger but smart.
And mean. Like really, really mean.
Right. There's a part where they say he stared in the darkness of that pit and became part of it. He purged fear from his heart, and he survived. The cell was below sea level, below the level of the sea at the high tide. Each night the ocean would flood it. Each night he would fight for his life. Hatred gave him strength to hold on. Hatred and the promise of the man he would become. He learned to welcome the nightly visits of the sea. It allowed him to mark the days. It brought him food. Like he would eat the fish that got brought in by the high tide into the, like, it is a scary origin story.
Yeah.
And at one point he learns about Batman in Gotham City and decides, you know what? I'm going to go there and I'm going to beat that guy. Because there's no other, I have nothing else to say about it. Because.
Yeah.
That is the thing to do.
Something to do. He conquered this prison.
And he literally escapes the prison after he's given venom. He lowers his heart rate so that it seems like he dies. And they go to wrap him and throw him off the cliff like they did his mom and feed him to the sharks. He then rips open, like as the sharks go to open to eat him, he rips open the sharks and comes back, kills the general that was running the prison, breaks everybody else out, and then hits the Gotham. And again,
that's how you make an exit.
Right. And then what you notice in Visions of Bane and it leads into Nightfall is him observing Batman. Like all his henchmen, everybody else, they kind of want to go in and take out Batman. He's like, no. Hang back.
I'm going to watch first.
I'm going to watch and learn. And he sees, and then when you read Nightfall, it's literally him learning to systematically break down Batman. And get him. Batman's already, exhausted and barely able to keep up. And Bane notices and sees this. At one point, when Batman isn't around, I think Killer Croc breaks out, and Tim gets Jean Paul to put on the costume.
Right.
And Bane sees through. He's like, "Oh no, you're not Batman." He's like, he literally walks away. He doesn't fight Tim or he's like, "Oh, you're not Batman. I want Batman."
That's what I'm here for.
Another thing that gives me an appreciation for The Dark Knight Rises and just how much I think that we don't give credit enough to Christopher Nolan for reading the books. The fight when Bane finally shows up at Wayne Manor, because he figures out that Bruce is Batman. The amount of shit talking he does during the fight,
straight cash,
is just the same. Let me see if I can actually find some of the things he said. Like it is, it is truly just what an asshole. Let me see. Yeah, at one point. Let's see. Oh no, that's not it. No. Let me see. Hold on. I thought I had like during the fight. Like he's literally. It's during the fight. He's talking shit, and then Batman's also trying to find a way to power through it, and it just doesn't work.
Nah. There's no powering through it.
No, it's. Let me see if I get some of this. And he literally breaks the. And the thing about Bane is breaking the bat becomes his thing. Where, let's see. Yeah, he goes through. He's like, "You have nothing." He's literally talking shit to him as he's going through this.
As he's beating his ass in his house.
In his house with everything he has. He goes from "It's over. You are nothing. You're a disappointment." At one point he even tells him, it's like Batman goes, and it's funny because this is reminds me of a scene in The Dark Knight Rises. Batman goes to punch Bane, and Bane just stands there, but Batman kind of crumbles, and Bane looks at him and goes, "You're already broken." It's just, oh my god, yeah, he's Bane's a little bit of an asshole. But the thing about Bane is when he goes, he breaks the bat. And that becomes his thing. He reminds me of a little bit of, like, I saw before when Charles Barkley was talking about how LeBron James wouldn't be in his top 5 or anything like that. And you go, hey, dude, like, you're just holding on to a time in your past. Maybe it's time to kind of update a little bit. Bane, through everything we've seen, even the Secret Six, he continually holds on to I'm the guy that broke the bat.
It's a pretty good thing to hold on to.
It's a good thing to hold on to, yeah.
If you're going to hang your hat on something.
Right. But it's like, yeah, but you didn't.
Worse places.
You broke the bat, but then the bat came back and broke you, and
I wouldn't stop that. I wouldn't point that out.
I wouldn't point that out, but I'm just saying, it's like at some point. Another one that was interesting to me, and so leading to our next character that I read was Bane of the Demon, which actually had, finally has you crossing paths with Raish and Bane, which when you think about it makes sense because again they become the two that have come the closest to beating Batman, and you have them doing Raish is both intrigued and then at first he's kind of like this dude's nothing but a brute. When he starts realizing that maybe Bane there is something more to Bane, there's also the whole thing about Bane kind of falling for Talia and wanting to become the heir the demon, and it's a very interesting dynamic there. You even have them fighting at one point in a sword fight, which goes back to what Bruce and Ra's
did in the desert.
In the desert, you have them doing a sword fight. At one point, let's see, do I have that? Yeah, here we go. Here goes Ra's talking to Bane. You are far too dangerous to live, Bane. You have done what few in 1,000 years have accomplished. You defied me. You have thwarted me. You have betrayed me. You have a mind equal to the greatest I have ever known, even if it's inferior to my own. You are treacherous and vain. Loyalty means nothing to you. You are being a pure self. You are entirely without morals and any virtue save courage. You may be the second most dangerous man alive, which is why you are a perfect mate for my daughter. Which, by the way, reveals that Ra's is it's a shitty father. All right,
let's talk about Ra's.
All right,
he is a questionably lived, because there's no one knows how old he is. They show it's been a long time, and he replenishes himself. He's the head of the League of Assassins, and he replenishes himself in these Lazarus pits. And he first shows up in Batman by kidnapping Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
So while Bane's first appearance was, slowly building to breaking the bat, the first time you hear Ra's name, you know three things. One, he snuck into the Batcave.
Right.
Two, he took Dick Grayson. Three, he already knows who Bruce is.
Right. So before we get any further with that, just we always joke when we watch Arrow about how Malcolm Merlyn and the League of Assassins always break into and show up, just appear in whatever Arrow cave is there. They get that from Ra's, because Ra's and the League do that. That's their thing. Your hideout is not. It's never going to be safe.
It's their hideout.
It's their house. It's always going to be their hideout. Again, his first appearance is Batman 232. So, but go ahead. Continue on with that.
No, I was just saying that the first appearance is the duel in the desert, and you get Neil Adams, Batman with the chest hair. And it's a scene that's been depicted, like you said, in numerous times, kind of homaged. But I still love this first Ra's appearance. Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite Ra's story. It's not my favorite Batman story. But it sets up Ra's as a serious threat to Batman. And then from there, you get the great Batman Ra's stories, but also you get him as an antagonist for the entire DC universe.
Well, he's one of the few Batman characters that literally threatens not just Gotham, but the world.
Right.
He's lived so long, he believes he's there to bring balance to the world. And that is his idea. And that's what makes him so dangerous. What's your favorite Ra's story?
It's either going to be Tower of Babel or that Red Robin run.
Yeah, the Red Robin one.
I'm a huge fan of that Red Robin run. I reread it for this, and I was like, you know what? I really liked Ra's. I don't know if it's because I've just seen Ra's versus Batman so many times, but seeing him as the foil against Tim Drake was a nice change of pace for me.
Another good one is The Birth of the Demon, which kind of goes back and retells his origin. He's old. He's trying to, in present day, he's trying to dig up the Lazarus pits because he's near death, and he's trying to replenish himself. And Bruce is literally is almost dying to stop him. At one point, Bruce gets knocked into some toxic water, and he's dying. But he's still like, I have to stop him. So at one point, he says, I'm this close to finally putting an end to the threat that is Ra's al Ghul. And Alfred says to him, is it that important, Master Bruce? Yes, it's the most important thing I've ever done. Maybe the most important thing anyone has ever done. Because we know what he's planning. Every time we've met, he's told us. He wants to destroy most of human life on the planet and establish absolute tyranny over whoever survives. I've got people watching the nodes that yesterday a beautiful woman is seen in North Africa, most certainly his daughter Talia. Can't you at least call Dr. Tompkins? Perhaps you could drop it. Like, Bruce literally gets angry at Alfred, because he's like, no, I have to stop Raish. He is a huge threat. Yeah, you get another battle between Raish and Bruce, where Bruce trying to stop him from, using the Lazarus pit. It ends with them both falling in, and Bruce Bruce waking up and realizing that their battle's going to continue. The interesting thing about Raish is that he's so, while Batman is one of his greatest threats and enemies, he respects him so much and views him as a potential heir and mate for Talia.
Right.
And even at one point where he when eventually thinks that Bane could be it, he realizes that no, Bane, you're not what Bruce and Batman can be. I guess Talia now has kind of become more of a threat a little bit than Raish.
Well, at one point she takes the lead from him, so
true.
And we can talk about that a whole another time when we get to the things that happen with Damian. And it's funny because the Al Ghul name is now part of the Wayne family.
Yeah. His son is literally an Al Ghul.
Yeah. But time and time again, he's chosen to be a Wayne first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important, not just for the animosity between Talia and Bruce, but also between just kind of what it says about Batman.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, like I said, Raish to me is just, like I said, it's a very interesting, and next to, I guess, the last character we're going to do, which is Joker, probably one of the biggest threats that Bruce faces. Because you have someone, again, he looks at, in the Hush storyline, because the Lazarus pit is used, at one point, Raish again breaks into the Batcave and sticks the sword that he had fought Bruce with into the computer and in the console. And at one point, Bruce is like, he just thought it was just Raish, calling him out. They thought about it again. It was like, actually, you know what? That might have been a more deliberate move. It turns out it was. It was Raish leaving another kind of message to look a little bit deeper into where the sword's put. And that's the kind of stuff they have. It's literally a chess match between him and Bruce. And it's interesting to see. Because, again, I think that Raish kind of gives... Raish's offer to Bruce is kind of tempting.
Yeah.
It's very tempting. So, Bruce will never take it, but he can't take it, but Raish will never stop offering it either. So, there's that. And I just love the fact that Talia is really one of those, not only is your dick not your friend, but she'll never really stop with, like, it's one of those, you're going to take this, or I'm gonna take it by force type deal. Yeah. A little rapey. Talia's a little rapey with Bruce.
More than little.
More than little. She actually does. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. We have Tower of Babel, and then, like I said, he pops up every now and then. But also, if you want to just get you get his origin and how he became throughout the years in Birth of the Demon, and the artwork is beautiful and great, and I also think it's a really good story if you want to get that. So, all right. So we are we finally here
for the big Joker?
All right. So listen, this is the guy.
That's why we're all here, kids.
Yeah.
And we'll get there for each one of these three character corners. There's someone for each one of them.
Yeah. But for Batman, it's always going to be Joker. And again, there are other characters that we didn't cover, some smaller known rogues and stuff like that. They're all there, but it all comes back to the Joker.
Yeah, shout out to Kite Man.
Yeah, ventriloquist.
Who Tom King keeps joking he's putting in his run, and I demand to see Kite Man now. Sorry.
I'm gonna read something. That's from, I think this is Death of the Family. Look into his eyes and tell yourself he's just a man. Tell yourself he can't know the things he says he does. He can't know your fears, but he has Alfred. He has your friend and his eyes. They have studied the human eye. There are 6 eye movements that reveal motive, then 15 variations of each one. On everyone else, on everyone else you face, even the most hardened criminals, the pupils contract or expand depending on the emotion. Happiness, laughter, affection, the pupils open. Fear, anger, hatred, the pupils close. But not his. His pupils stay fixed. Tiny points of blackness, the eyes of someone who hates everything, everyone. Eyes that let in no light, that see through the darkness, stare into you. Each pupil a tiny black pearl fixed in space. A bullet coming at you. Eyes that say he's more than a man. Eyes that say he knows you. No, you know what he is. Tell yourself the truth. He's just a man who fell in a vat of chemical waste. He's just a man. And then there's the other one that I also love. So this is when he's entering into Arkham to face off against Joker. So now, Bruce, as you enter, tell yourself he's just a man like you. Again, I love how they I love that Snyder kept going back to this. Like Bruce having to literally tell himself he's just a man.
He's just a guy. What are you scared? Don't be scared of him.
Don't be scared.
He's just some dude.
Right. Tell yourself he has flesh that can be ripped, bones that can be shattered, that he needs to breathe, to eat, to sleep. Prove it to yourself. Stare back at him. Again, you never hear Batman having to deal with this kind of shit with any other villain.
And it's especially in this run because he literally beats up the entire Rogue Squadron on his way up the fucking stairs.
Yeah. Stare back at him into those damn eyes. Stare into them until he flinches. Until you see them work like human eyes. Until you see the pupils change. It happens all of a sudden. Just a tiny shift. But there it is. You stare back and you see it. That smallest flicker in the pupils. But still, you say to yourself, see? Beneath it all, he's just what you thought he was, a man. And ignore the fact that what you saw those tiny pupils do was expand. Expand for you after you stare back long enough. Ignore the fact that what you saw those black points expand with was love.
I don't know what to say, man. That's terrifying. And we can talk about Joker stories all day long. I don't care what anyone says. Killing Joke's terrible. Sorry.
Yeah, it is.
It's not good.
No, the only thing that it is nothing. I can't even say it. Like
the only good things that came out of it were better writers saving Barbara Gordon as Oracle.
Right. And literally, after rereading, I forgot that it literally starts basically with her being shot and crippled.
Oh yeah.
So there's no good reason. I don't care what anyone says. It's there. I mentioned it just because it has.
It has to be mentioned.
It has to be mentioned because
they're making a movie of it this year.
Well, not only that, but it changes Barbara Gordon, and I think that, like you said, it spawns out other good things. Like when Joker comes back in Scott Snyder's run, and you see the way he's tormenting Jim. Like it's because of what happened to Barbara and stuff like that. You can feel that and you need that from these other writers and that's great. Got to mention Death in the Family. He beats the shit out of Jason Todd with a crowbar and kills him.
Which, by the way, guys, like if you were around calling that number, come on, that's.
Well,
honestly,
if you called the number, did you think that they were going to have him beat with a crowbar? Then, like, not only did they have...
It wasn't like, do we write Jason Todd out of the book? It was, do you want to kill Robin?
Right. Well, but again, when you say, do you want to kill Robin, you think that they wouldn't have gone, like, I feel like they punished people who said, okay, you want to vote leave? All right. This is the Brexit vote before the Brexit vote. They're like, you want Jason Todd to leave? All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Joker beat the shit out of him with a crowbar.
I don't remember agreeing to this.
and then because that's not good enough, we're gonna have you think that he's gonna be able to escape the building, but then once he gets to the door, the door is locked, and then we're gonna blow the building up while Batman watches. Like, you might have gone a little overboard, guys.
You think?
Just might have.
What was the first clue?
You might have. Like, you could have stopped. You could have stopped at the beating with a crowbar, but they literally. What's so great about it is they literally have him being dragged to the door, and you're like, "Oh, he's got 12 seconds. It'll be fine." I can't remember what the lady's name. It goes, "I can't open it. It's locked." And you're like, "Son of a bitch." They're gonna do it. They're gonna blow him up.
They're gonna blow up Robin.
They're gonna blow up Robin. Yeah, man. What can you say about Mr. J?
He's one of those characters that you like. Here's how reverently he's treated in the book. In all the books, there are JLA issues where Kyle and Wally will be talking, and he'll say, "You want to hear scary? Well, let Batman tell you a Joker story sometime."
Mm-hmm.
Like, his Joker stories are terrifying.
Right.
Like, and then you talk about, like, it's a smaller character, like you said, like Grace, you generally like world-ending threats. He's generally a smaller character. But then you think of things like Emperor Joker when he steals, I can never pronounce the guy's name, Mr. Mix, whatever, the Batman villain.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
He steals his powers and reshapes reality. It's terrifying. Because Joker's crazy. And
there's been so many different variations of him. Like, you go from, like, the last... I love what made Death of the Family in Endgame so great was even Batman himself goes, this time is different.
He's different.
He feels different. He's no longer playing... It doesn't feel like he's playing a game anymore. And it's funny. Like, it's weird to say it's funny, but everything, it's like when Hush said, when Batman asked, how'd you get the Joker involved in this scheme of yours? He's like, well, I told him about the Jason Todd gag.
He couldn't resist.
Right. It's always a joke. This time it's not a funny. There's no punchline. There's no joke here. Or at least one he couldn't see at the time. There was one, but it's a very twisted, dark, scary one. And I think that's the thing about Joker. He's so unpredictable. Another thing I loved was it Death of the Family? Was it Endgame where they have the story about I think it's Endgame where they have the story of, I guess it was the FBI agent or something like that was going to come in and infiltrate and stop the Joker. Man. And you watch Joker systematically torment this man throughout his life.
Can't he have a family?
He was like, yo.
Can't have friends. He's like, no, I'm your friend.
Right, I'm your friend. And he literally becomes this man's friend and shows up, and it is terrifying. Like, I don't know.
You wanted a friend. You didn't want a friend.
What is worse, having Joker as your enemy or having Joker as your friend?
Yes.
It is horrifying. And what he does to this man is literally break him down to the smallest thing he could ever be. And it's just...
It's tough, yeah. You're 100% right.
And again, what are the different forms of Joker? I know there's they have distinct ways, because isn't now in Rebirth they're saying there's technically 3?
So they're saying that, not in Rebirth only, because now I guess this has been in all continuity that there's now 3 distinct Jokers. There's the early Joker, who was literally the clown prince of crime, who, had a gang and did stuff and knocked over banks. Then there was sadistic, mildly disturbing Joker, the one who shot Barbara Gordon.
Right.
And then there's the court jester, the man who sees himself as the court jester to the king of Batman, Scott Snyder's super messed up Joker. Which is still, honestly, they let Scott Snyder put that in a comic book, I want to tell you.
He went around in some of those issues with his face stable back on, and you literally watch his face start to rot.
Decay. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, Scott Snyder wrote it, but Greg Capullo drew this. Arrest that man. He's killed people. I can't prove any of it.
Right.
But I also can't prove he hasn't killed people.
I also like I've read Under the Red Hood. I like the animated version of that better.
Way better.
Because that Joker it's hilarious because it's hilarious. When Jason Todd when he realizes Jason Todd is back from the dead and is trying to kill him and doing and he's causing all this problem, the look on Joker's face in Under the Red Hood in the animated is priceless. He's turned on by it.
He's like, now you and me, now you and the crowbar. Now me, you, and the crowbar.
Right.
Trying to take pictures.
Right. It's but even then, just the way he realizes that he's caused so much torment for Batman, and it's just it's a big game to him. It's all part of the joke.
And he's winning.
Yeah. you know, and just the idea of just what he's done, like when the rest of the Bat family finds out that he's back, and just and then there's even when there's this idea that maybe Joker knows who Batman is. And wait, if he knows you're Bruce Wayne, then doesn't he know who all of us are? And then
he doesn't care,
right? And I think that's the panel that makes it scarier to me. When Bruce reveals, I thought maybe he did know who I was, so I went to confront him, and he never turned around because he didn't want to know who I was.
Just ruins the game.
And again, that shows you why he understands Enigma, because it's like, hey, you understand the game, you understand what we do here, you see the bigger picture. This is the game, and it's just how do you deal with something like you can't fix that. Like
the characters we talked about tonight all fit in categories. The Joker's a force of nature.
Mm-hmm.
He's not to be stopped. He's not to be trifled with. He's not to be. When you see that, like, I guess there's at one point he's talking to Batman's talking to Damien. He's just like, I don't see what the big scary thing is about the Joker. He's like, shut up.
Yeah, you don't understand.
You treat the Joker with some respect,
right? Just a clown in a suit. You'll beat him again. It's like, no, you don't understand.
No. We don't joke about the Joker.
We've never really beaten him. And
he just stops.
Yeah, he just stopped. And I think that's the thing that gets me. I then begin to wonder, is the Joker even really crazy?
Oh, there's some pretty definitive answers to that. He is crazy.
Or deliberate.
You can be both.
True.
He is crazy.
He does crazy things.
No. At one point, Martian Manhunter tries to read his mind. He is crazy.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. In The Dark Knight Returns, that brutal ass fight, and I love that they did it in the comics and in the animated movie version of
That's
it.
one of those really underrated movie
adaptations. Yeah,
adaptations. It's really good.
Oh, it's really good. And I just love the brutality of like a batarang to the eye and things like that. But what I love about it is Batman still can't kill him, so he snaps his own neck.
As you are wont to do.
Just like, are you serious? Like
he was very serious.
Yeah. The Joker. The unpredictable rogue out of Batman's rogues. You never know what you're going to get with him. You can't underestimate him. What he does in Endgame is just...
No one saw that coming.
No one. And yeah. Like at one point, he's really posing under Batman's nose as one of the
as a doctor at Arkham.
The doctor at Arkham. And
then he explains how he told the name was a giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Border. I'm like, Jesus, you crazy bastard. I also really like this arc in the Batman and Robin with Dick and Damian.
Yeah. So, again, so we kind of end with the three villains, if you will, that have in some ways broken Batman. Bane literally physically breaking Batman. Ra's just because of the global nature of him, and then literally, he's forced Batman to kind of at some point be his heir by either directly with Bruce doing himself or Damian now.
Yeah, by hook or by crook.
Right. And then Joker, who has literally killed two of the has crippled one of the Bat family and killed one of the Bat family and will forever be tied and with Batman and generate that fear that you see someone like Scarecrow try to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just those are the three. Those are my top three for me. Who are yours? Like who's one of your favorite villains?
Well, I mean, I'm obviously Joker fan. I mean, Joker's Joker.
Yeah.
I have an irrational affection for Maxie Zeus. I think there's a good story to be told there about a guy who is so crazy he literally thinks he's Zeus. I like all of them. I'm a good Harvey Dent story is hard to find, but man, when they're good, they're great.
Right.
Because you really do get to see, they really pack that pathos of, this is there, but for the grace of God, go Batman.
Right.
Like, because every time you see Harvey Dent, and they've done a really good job, I don't know if I did a good job of cultivating what I read, but it's been really well, you feel like you're reading Long Halloween, and it's those three guys on the rooftop again.
Yeah.
You can almost feel Batman saying, damn it, we were close.
Yeah. For me, and I think maybe it's just because I've been reading it, we just finished reading it again, but Bane and Deadshot because of Secret Six. And seeing, continuing on from that and seeing what they're, and like Secret Six, that volume of Secret Six literally ends with Bane reverting back to the monster, and I have to break the bat. And this is after seeing him become like, try to become a nurse, and after going back and thinking about his origin and thinking about Secret Six,
Bane, it makes you appreciate the arc a lot more.
Yeah, Bane trying to be a father to Scandal, is so, because at first you're like, oh, is he attracted to her? And then you realize that, oh no, he's trying to be a father. And then you think about his own quest, because the whole thing about Bane of the Demon is him trying to find out who his father is.
At one point, it points to Thomas Wayne.
Right. And when you have the Secret Six arc with him trying to be Scandal's father and replace, Vandal, because Vandal is just such a shitty father, and Bane tried to, and then it literally ends with him finally going, all right, I'm gonna get the Venom implants again. This is after Scandal had helped him wean off of Venom. He gets the Venom implants again, and he decides he's gonna try to break the bat, and he comes up with a scheme to do it. And I almost kind of wish that Penguin hadn't ratted him out, because I would have been like, I'd be interested in seeing this happen and seeing Bane try to figure that out. Like you said, you literally have Bane going back to being the monster Bane, and I'm really interested in seeing what Tom King does with Batman now, because I want to see what he does with these villains.
One day he's gonna tell a Joker story, and I'm really happy.
Oh, dude, he tells a Joker, like I said, any of these rogues, Tom King writing them, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah, I can't wait. So,
and it sounds like we're getting Hugo Strange.
I
don't think it's a spoiler if I'm guessing, right?
No, but I think that what I'm saying is I'm like, I can't wait for that. That'll be, cause I think Hugo Strange is one that has been underused. Another underused one along. I would like to see Tom King using Hugo Strange and Scarecrow.
I could see that.
That would be a very interesting thing, especially with Tom King writing. So we talked a lot, man. This is our longest one so far.
Yeah.
Almost 2.5 hours. Yeah. Spider-Man's next.
Ugh.
I don't know how we're gonna make it, yo.
I have bad ideas, and that's why I'm on record saying that my ideas are shit sometimes.
But they're good for you guys.
Listeners, enjoy it.
I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm gonna be struggling at work tomorrow because of this.
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, we're doing Spider-Man next on the Rogue Wars. Let us know what you guys think about this one and the Batman. Like I said, let us know what some of your favorite Batman villains are. I know we didn't get to some of them. I mean, there's Firefly. I mean, like I said, Man-Bat. I mean, there's so many. The thing I love about the Arkham games, and we would bring them up, is you literally get that rogues gallery. You get to play you get the big ones, but you get the obscure ones. It's really great. Like, there were ones that I didn't. What, you're a villain? I didn't know you. Wait, to say okay.
There's a larger Man-Bat fan community than I ever thought possible.
You're right.
Like, I was, you wait for a game to come out, you produce a message board or two. People were like, Man-Bat better be in this fucking game. I'm like, really? Well, now that's how we feel.
Not only was he, but then you had a pretty good way of, having to take him down was great. That's what I loved about the Arkham games is you had to take down the villains like Batman.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's all there. It's all there. It's all great. Loved it. Again, hope you guys love this one. Again, Character Corner on movietrailerreviews.net or MTR Network. Search for us. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a review. And yeah, there you go. Almost 2.5 hours. Thank you guys very much. And until next time, we're out of here. Peace.